Chapter 2087. Don't taint my nobility with your filthy thoughts. 2. The higher-ranking members of the Qingyang society had unpleasant expressions on their faces and stared at Wang Ting with a sharp gaze. Now, will you all leave on your own, or do you want me to crush her to death? Wang Ting faced their collective gaze without fear and asked calmly as he looked at Feng Qingyang. Do you dare to kill someone in the academy? Feng Qingyang asked him back. I'm sorry, but right now we're in the arena. This woman has come up here as well, indicating her agreement to battle with me, Wang Ting replied. Many people were speechless. Didn't you force her up there? Was this a forced match? B0XO. Feng Qingyang's brow twitched, and he realized he had underestimated Wang Ting's audacity. At this moment, he had no choice but to suppress his anger. She didn't agree to battle you. Did you agree? Wang Ting asked, looking at Ruan Banlian. Ruan Banlian's face was half swollen. She glared at Wang Ting with intense resentment. She, the vice president of the Qingyang society, was being held hostage by a mere cosmos stage martial warrior. This was the humiliation of her life. Did you agree? Wang Ting gradually tightened his grip, asking once more. Ruan Banlian's face turned bright red, struggling to breathe. Her mouth opened wide, gasping for air, like a fish thrown onto the shore. Many people were astounded when they saw this scene. This Wang Ting was truly ruthless. Ruan Banlian was considered a beauty, but he treated her like this. Most people wouldn't be capable of such actions. Ruan Banlian, however, remained resolute and didn't utter a word. Slap. Wang Ting delivered another resounding slap to the side of the face that wasn't swollen and repeated, Did you agree? Silence. Everyone was stunned. Wow, he was heartless. Ruan Banlian, who had initially seemed dazed, regained her focus and glared fiercely at Wang Ting, refusing to utter a word. Slap. Wang Ting continued to ask, slapping Ruan Banlian repeatedly, Did you agree? Ruan Banlian's face was now horribly disfigured, but she still gritted her teeth and refused to speak. Slap. Wang Ting didn't stop and continued slapping her, alternating between sides. He seemed to be enjoying himself. He even declared confidently, Don't worry. I'll make sure both sides of your face remain balanced. Ruan Banlian was on the brink of losing her mind. What kind of words were you saying? Devil. This bastard was a devil. Her face was rapidly becoming numb on both sides at this moment, and she felt an unexpected sense of regret. If only she had agreed earlier. She would rather die than endure this humiliation. Below, Yu Qiqiao's mouth hung open, her eyes wide with astonishment. She touched her face that had been slapped by Ruan Banlian. It seemed to hurt a lot less now. Compared to Ruan Banlian's current predicament, her situation seemed like a minor inconvenience. Enough. Feng Qingyang's expression shifted back and forth, and he finally shouted with a cold tone. President Feng agreed. Wang Ting stopped what he was doing and asked. Feng Qingyang felt exasperated. Did he agree? You don't agree. Well, I can continue. Wang Ting pretended that he was about to resume the beating. Today's matter ends here. You will release Ruan Banlian, and well leave immediately. Feng Qingyang's face darkened and he spoke without hesitation. President Feng, you should have said earlier. Wang Ting smiled and casually tossed Ruan Banlian into the air, allowing Feng Qingyang to catch her. Feng Qingyang acted immediately. He released a gentle force and caught Ruan Banlian. However, Feng Qingyang's facial muscles twitched uncontrollably when he saw Ruan Banlian's face up close. It was a gruesome sight. Ruan Banlian coughed violently a few times and greedily sucked in air, gradually recovering. But the pain on her face was a constant reminder of the ordeal. She didn't need to contemplate to know that her current face must be unbearable to look at. In an instant, Ruan Banlian soared into the sky, heading toward the spacecraft in the sky without even glancing back at Wang Ting. Any grudges could be settled later. She didn't want more people to see her in her current state. I generally don't hit women, but you're no ordinary woman, Wang Ting shouted after her, gazing at Ruan Banlian's retreating figure. Ruan Banlian's body swayed slightly and she almost lost her balance, but she ultimately didn't look back and disappeared into the spacecraft, vanishing from the sight of the onlookers. Many people gazed at Wang Ting with peculiar expressions. To have brought that woman, Wan Banlian, to such a state, he was no ordinary person. This young man was ruthless. Even if you can protect the Constellation Society this time, can you protect it the next time? The freshman leaderboard is about to close. How many of your Constellation Society's members can rise? It's too late. Feng Qingyang stared at Wang Teng and slowly spoke. Fear not, President Feng. We, the Constellation Society, will surely amaze you. Remember to keep your eyes wide open when the time comes, Wang Teng replied calmly. Very well, I'll wait and see. Feng Qingyang nodded without displaying any emotions and, without saying more, turned to leave with his subordinates. Let's go. The members of the Qingyang Society were utterly frustrated. They were a powerful society, but they were still embarrassed by the mere Constellation Society. Wang Ting watched the departing figures of the Qingyang Society members, his eyes flickering with cold determination. Eventually, he regained his composure and descended from the arena. President Ji, President Wu, I value your aid this time, Wang Ting said, voicing his gratitude to Ji Feiyun and Wu Ming, as he clasped his fists in salute. You're too kind. We didn't aid much, the two of them replied with wry smiles. Indeed, the words of Feng Qingyang had put them on edge. In contrast, Wang Ting had displayed incredible resolve. In that situation, he dared to confront Feng Qingyang and even beat up the vice president of the Qingyang Society, leaving her battered and bruised. Chapter 2088 Don't taint my nobility with your filthy thoughts. 3. It must be said, Wang Teng was truly fearless. Most people wouldn't dare to do what he just did. No, you both came to our aid at a critical moment, and that already shows great respect for me and the Constellation Society. In the future, if there's anything I can do to help, I won't hesitate, Wang Teng replied. Ji Feiyun and Wu Ming were surprised. No wonder Wang Ting was able to gather a group of people and form the Constellation Society. He had a big heart and was willing to help others. As for Feng Qingyang, you should be cautious. He won't just give up. After 2 consecutive failures and him losing his face, he will likely send senior members of the Qingyang Society next time, Ji Feiyun cautioned. Wang Teng nodded. He was well aware of this fact. Feng Qingyang wouldn't be foolish enough to use freshmen again, especially after 2 failures. The next time, it would probably be the senior members of the Qingyang Society. Although Wang Ting wasn't afraid of heaven stage opponents, he would need to consider his options if he had to face a universe stage martial warrior. B0XO. Currently, he didn't possess the strength to take on a universe stage martial warrior alone. Especially the universe stage martial warriors in the stellar academies. They are all geniuses and differ from ordinary universe stage martial warriors outside. I wonder when Feng Qingyang will reach the eternal stage, or is he just trying to intimidate us? Wu Ming asked. It should be real. At his level, deceiving us wouldn't make sense, Ji Feiyun said. It seems like we need to work harder. Otherwise, if he really gets the upper hand, we will have a hard time in the future, Wu Ming shook his head. Reaching the eternal stage is no easy feat, Ji Feiyun sighed and continued, given our foundation, advancing to the eternal stage is even more challenging. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been stuck at this level for so many years. That's true, Wu Ming agreed, then he suddenly said, Feng Qingyang is in a similar position to us. Could it be that he recently had some fortuitous encounter? Fortuitous encounter? Perhaps, Ji Feiyun replied. It looks like I need to go out and explore as well. Staying in the stellar academies makes it hard to break through to the eternal stage. Junior Wang Teng, if there's nothing else, I'll make a move first. With that, he gave Wang Ting a fist salute and prepared to depart. I'm leaving too, Wu Ming said. Wang Ting saluted the two of them with a fist gesture and watched them depart. Foundation, huh? Wang Teng contemplated their words, pondering their significance. It looks like their competitiveness was ignited by the Feng Qingyang. Yu Chiqiao walked forward and said. Competition is everywhere in the stellar academies. Perhaps that's the essence of its existence. Wang Ting chuckled and glanced at her, saying, Is your face all right? It's fine. Compared to that Wan Banlian, I'm doing quite well, Yu Chiqiao replied with a nonchalant smile. Wang Ting, you were quite ruthless just now. Ruan Banlian is a beauty, after all. Yet you didn't hesitate to strike so hard, Tong Yen teased as she joined the conversation. My actions were out of respect for her. Ruan Banlian is the vice president of the Qingyang Society. She's not an ordinary woman, Wang Ting said seriously. Tong Yen was speechless. This guy always found reasons for his actions, even when hitting a woman. He was quite cunning. By the way, it looks like you've become a lot stronger this time. Seems like you gained quite a bit over there, Tong Yen observed Wang Ting, showing genuine interest. It's okay. I merely stayed a bit longer than you guys, Wang Ting replied casually. A bit longer. Yuan Bai, Wei Ena, and the others rolled their eyes. Brother, do you call several months a bit longer? They all thought Wang Ting had drowned in that blood pool during his extended absence. By the way, you didn't drain the blood pool, did you? Tong Yen asked skeptically. No, how could I? I can't possibly drain it by myself, Wang Ting stated flatly. Really? Tong Yen stared into Wang Ting's eyes. Absolutely, Wang Ting affirmed. Good, it's a fantastic place. I want to try it again next moment if I get the chance, Tong Yen said. Wang Ting. Should he remind them to bring some Star Beast blood essence next time they go? Never mind, they could figure it out themselves when they go there next time. Wang Ting, what level has your physical body reached now? Yuan Bai couldn't help but ask curiously. Cheers. Wang Ting, that's confidential, Wang Teng replied with a smile. All right, Yuan Bai shrugged and didn't press for more information. He chuckled and said, the freshman leaderboard is closing soon. You won't be able to hide. I'm looking forward to it. You must be joking. Just now, even Ruan Banlian couldn't withstand a single punch from Wang Teng. Do you think someone on the freshman leaderboard can push him to his limits? Bai Yarrow commented. Yuan Bai was at a loss. He suddenly realized that Wang Ting might be too extraordinary, to the point where even the freshman leaderboard might not be able to test his full strength. Wang Ting shook his head, wondering why these people were so eager to discover his secrets. What's more, they were discussing right in front of him. By the way, we want to join the Constellation Society. The Constellation Society suddenly said. You want to join the Constellation Society? Wang Ting was taken aback, looking at Tong Yen and the others with surprise. Yu Chiqiao and the others were stunned too. These seniors seemed to have some background. Why performed they want to join the Constellation Society? What the hell? When performed the Constellation Society becomes so attractive that even senior students want to join? Chapter 2089. Don't taint my nobility with your filthy thoughts. 4. Yes, we want to join the Constellation Society. So, are you willing to accept us? Tong Yen smiled and nodded, saying, Why? Wang Tung frowned. Why? There's no need for so many whys. We think it's fun so we want to join, Tong Yen said nonchalantly. Or is it you look down on our combat strength? That's not the case. Seniors, you have decent strength. I think you can probably withstand 5 punches from me, Wang Teng mused, stroking his chin. Tong Yen and the others were speechless. He thinks they could probably withstand 5 punches from him. Thank you for your acknowledgement. B0XO. Tong Yen and the others didn't know if they were being overestimated or belittled. After all, they were all Heaven Stage martial warriors, but in Wang Ting's eyes, they could only withstand 5 punches. Hearing such an evaluation, they felt like crying. If you want to join the Constellation Society, you must follow the club's rules, Wang Teng continued, ignoring their thoughts. Having fun is one thing, but rules must not be disregarded. Of course, we're not idiots, Tong Yen rolled her eyes. Wang Ting looked at Yu Chiqiao, who thought for a moment before nodding. All right, welcome to the club. Wang Teng extended his hand and smiled. Haha, from now on, you're our president, so you have to take care of us, Tong Yen grinned, completely disregarding the usual demeanor of a senior. President, we'll be following you from now on, Yuan Bai, Bai Yarrow, and the others also chimed in, smiling. No problem. No problem. Wang Ting was undaunted. he could take care of a few Heaven Stage martial warriors. The Constellation Society members behind him couldn't help but smile. With several Heaven Stage senior students joining, the Society's strength had increased. More importantly, it seemed that these seniors had extraordinary backgrounds. They had even confronted the president of the Qingyang Society. This was a morale boost for the members of the Constellation Society. As expected, once their president returned, all problems would be resolved. Many people looked at Wang Ting with admiration. Upon the president's return, he stood up to the vice president of the Qingyang Society and took revenge for them. Furthermore, the Qingyang Society suffered a loss and had no choice but to leave in a dejected manner. Now, he even attracted several senior students to join them. These were things the vice president couldn't have achieved. Of course, the vice president and the others are formidable as well. Without them, the Constellation Society couldn't have defeated the Qingyang Society. These thoughts flashed through the minds of the Constellation Society members, dispelling their earlier gloomy mood. Now they were filled with motivation. All right, everyone, let's head back for now. We'll discuss some matters once we return. Wang Ting gazed around and spoke. Yes, let's go back. Yu Qiqiao nodded. Wang Ting led the way toward the Devil Slayer spaceship hovering in the sky, and Yu Qiqiao and the others quickly followed. Tong Yen and the others put away their spaceships and stepped into the Devil Slayer spaceship. They were all curious about Wang Ting's spaceship and wanted to explore it. After entering the spaceship, they gazed around with amazement in their eyes. This spaceship is no ordinary vessel. Tong Yen touched this and that, marveled, even among universe-level spacecraft, this one is a top-tier spacecraft. Where did Wang Ting get it? Why don't you question him? Bai Yarrow said. Wang Ting, where did you get this spaceship? Tong Yen immediately caught up with Wang Ting and asked. This is the Ant-Man race's spacecraft. I found it accidentally, Wang Ting said. Ant-Man race's spacecraft? Tong Yen was stunned. She furrowed and pondered for a moment. Then, she suddenly said, Are you referring to the Ant-Man race known for their love of slaughter? Yes, Wang Ting nodded. No wonder I feel an extremely fierce aura on this spacecraft. Tong Yen suddenly realized. It's a ship from that race. President, you're really fortunate. Bai Yarrow marveled. Just good luck, Wang Ting smiled. This spacecraft might attract unnecessary trouble if flown in the universe, Wei Na said. No worries, since I took it out, I'm not afraid of others trying to snatch it. Wang Ting was confident and spoke nonchalantly. It seems like you've gained significant strength this time, Tong Yen spoke meaningfully. As they spoke, the group arrived at the control center of the spaceship, and two figures approached them. Kangju? Little Chinga. Tong Yen was surprised and elated when she saw the people. When Wang Ting was in a deep sleep, she had gotten closer to Kang Yu and Little Chinga on the Scorpion King star. Hence, she was not only surprised but also delighted when she saw them. Tong Yen. Kang Yu nodded. Is it really you? But your appearances. Tong Yen gazed at the two with a puzzled expression. If it weren't for their unique auras and the fact that they were from the snake race, she might not have recognized them immediately. Just a few small changes, Kang Yu said. By the way, I'm now referred Kang Yu. You can call me by that name. Kang Yu. Tong Yen nodded. She didn't probe further and smiled. This name is not bad. Wang Ting, who are they? Yu Qiqiao curiously scrutinized the two snake women, her expression somewhat odd. This guy went out for a trip and brought back two beautiful snake women. Chapter 2090. Don't taint my nobility with your filthy thoughts. 5. One mature and one naive, a perfect combination. What was he planning? In this situation, it was hard for her not to have some wild thoughts. Put away your dirty thoughts. They are natives from Scorpion King star. Wang Ting noticed her expression and gave her an annoyed look before explaining briefly. Oh, Yu Qiqiao elongated her word and nodded, saying, I see, my mistake. My mistake. Don't taint my nobility with your filthy thoughts, Wang Ting said. Yu Qiqiao. B0XO. This guy just wouldn't stop. Give him an inch, he'll take a mile. She didn't bother with Wang Ting, pushed him away, and went to meet the snake women. She sympathized with Kang Yu and little Chinga, but at the same time, she respected them. She felt that she should get to know them better. Without needing an introduction from Wang Ting, the women quickly got along, chatting and laughing, leaving Wang Ting completely on the sidelines. Wang Ting was speechless. At this moment, someone suddenly poked Wang Ting in the waist. "Oh my God, Fatty, how did you end up like this?" Wang Ting was taken aback when he saw Wade covered in blood. "Ah, boss, you're only noticing my miserable state now? All this blood is shed for our Constellation Society," Wade complained. Cough, cough. Wang Ting coughed awkwardly, then quickly took out a healing pill and said seriously, "How is that possible? I spotted you in the crowd immediately. Here, take this pill first. I promise you'll recover in no time." Wade didn't hesitate. He took the pill and put it in his mouth. A warm current flowed from his abdomen to his limbs, and his injuries rapidly healed. Scabs formed, then fell off, and he felt so comfortable that he almost moaned. "Boss, your pills are indeed amazing," Wade exclaimed. "That's for sure." Wang Ting patted his shoulder and asked, "So, what happened to you?" "It's a long story." Wade took a deep breath, preparing to recount his heroic deeds. "Let's keep it short," Wang Ting interrupted and said. Wade hesitated for a moment and said, "During the previous arena battle, I was the second to go on. To win the match, I took a hit from the opponent with my body, and then I gave him a good swing with my axe. He couldn't get up after that." "Wow, you're quite daring." Wang Ting's expression changed slightly, and he started to look at the fatty in a new light. Wade used to be quite timid, but now he dared to take a hit with his body to secure a victory. Wang Ting also felt touched by the dedication of his fellow members to the Constellation Society. Compared to their efforts, he felt that he, as the president, had not been fulfilling his responsibilities properly. "Hee, I can't let you down, boss." Wade chuckled and felt elated to receive Wang Ting's approval. Wang Ting patted his shoulder again and asked, "You took a hit and your body held up well. It seems like you've been conditioning your physique in your spare time?" "That's right, I've been practicing a physique scripture." Wade agreed without hesitation. "You can use these for your cultivation," Wang Ting decided after some thought. He took several crimson crystals from his storage ring and handed them to Wade. "What are these?" Wade examined the crimson crystals in his hand and asked curiously. "These are valuable items that can improve your physical strength. Use them for your cultivation," Wang Ting explained. These items were crystallized blood essence he had discovered at the bottom of the blood pool after draining it. They had similar properties to the blood pool. While they were of no use to him personally, given his character, he couldn't just leave them behind, so he brought them back. To improve physical strength. Wade's eyes lit up, and he eagerly said, "Thank you, boss." Their conversation wasn't hidden from the other members of the Constellation Society, and many of them watched with envy. Wade had received a reward from the president. Moreover, those crimson crystals could improve physical strength, which was a highly sought-after benefit. "President." Yu Chichiao opened her mouth and hesitated. "I know what you want to say. Don't worry. I will craft some Grandmaster pills for enhancing cultivation. Anyone who contributes to the Constellation Society will receive appropriate rewards." He gestured generously and smiled at the crowd. The Constellation Society members in the room were all delighted. Those who wanted to leave had already done so, and those remaining were undoubtedly the ones who had made significant contributions to the society. Their waiting and dedication were about to be rewarded. Excitement filled the hearts of everyone present. "Long live the president!" Someone yelled, and others joined in. In an instant, the entire spaceship echoed with the cheers of the members. Seeing this scene, Yu Chichiao smiled. She didn't want these people to end up with no prizes after their perseverance. Now that Wang Ting was planning to reward their efforts, she felt reassured. She had confidence that with Wang Ting's guidance, the Constellation Society's strength would undoubtedly experience a significant surge. She had great faith in Wang Ting. If it was someone else, she wouldn't be so confident. However, if it was Wang Ting, anything was possible. Chapter 2091. What should I do when a violent senior laid her eyes on me? 1. In Wang Ting's manor. The others had already left, leaving only Wang Ting, Yu Chiqiao, Wade, Yu Yunxian, Borit, and a few others. Of course, Tong En's team was present too. Then, there was Kang Yu and Little Chinga. Wang Ting sat on the sofa, listening to Yu Chiqiao recounting the events that had happened in the Constellation Society during this time. He returned in a hurry, and although he knew some things, he didn't know everything. As Yu Chiqiao spoke, a cold light gradually appeared in Wang Ting's eyes, and he said in a stern voice, "The Qingyang Society is becoming more and more shameless. B0XO. Com Feng Qingyin's character is not commendable." Tong Yen shook his head. Yu Chiqiao remained silent. During this time, they suffered a lot of exclusion and pressure, so it was impossible for them not to feel any anger towards Feng Qingyang. Their anger was burning. Wang Ting didn't make any strong statements, but instead asked, "How many points have the Constellation Society earned?" "Altogether, 550,000 points, Yu Chiqiao said, and a smile appeared on her pretty face. 550,000. That's quite a lot," Wang Ting exclaimed. "All the pills you gave me have been sold out, and we've also sold quite a few other items, like my Yuan Yu Pearl, which is quite popular," Yu Chiqiao said, then added with a hint of helplessness, "But unfortunately, my cultivation level is still low, and my efficiency is not high. I also need to practice myself, so I don't have much time to make them, which is why the quantity is limited." "Not bad. Take it slow, you can't become rich in one go," Wang Ting reassured her and said, "Transfer the points to me. I'll buy some materials." "All right." Yu Chiqiao didn't think much of it and operated her wristband to transfer all 550,000 points to Wang Ting. She thought that with 550,000 points, they should be able to refine many Grandmaster pills. Wang Ting glanced at the transfer information on the wristband, maintaining his composure. He had most of the materials already, but he couldn't give them away for free, especially considering that he had personally refined those pills. 550,000. This is truly a highly profitable business. Alchemists make good money. Tong Yen, who was nearby, couldn't help but exclaim upon hearing their conversation. Wei Ena, Bai Yaro, and the others were both amazed and envious. Alchemists indeed made a lot of money. Unfortunately, becoming an alchemist required a high level of talent, and the initial investment in training was not insignificant. This would affect their martial arts cultivation. Otherwise, they would have loved to learn it. Wang Ting was so young, and not only did he have terrifying martial cultivation, but he had also reached the peak of the Grandmaster level in alchemy. They couldn't help but wonder how he had achieved all of this. Comparisons made people infuriated. "It's all right. 550,000 isn't much. I worked hard to earn this money by making pills." Wang Ting shook his head. "I heard that you only spent a few days on alchemy and didn't invest much time." Tong Yen glanced at him and said. She was quite well informed about Wang Ting's alchemy endeavors. The commotion he caused when he was refining pills at the alchemy volcano was not small, and many people knew about it. To find out, all one had to do was spend a few points to easily get the information. In 3 days, Wang Ting had successfully refined dozens of Grandmaster-level pills. What kind of efficiency was that? It was like he was an alchemy machine. No, wait, machines couldn't achieve this kind of efficiency, not even the alchemists in the mecha race could match this efficiency. There were alchemists in the mecha race too. Compared to normal alchemists, they had a huge advantage and were highly efficient. At this moment, they all wanted to open Wang Ting's skull to see what was inside. How was he able to achieve such a monstrous level of skill? Really? Wang Ting played dumb. "My memory isn't good. I can't remember." TSK. Tong Yen swirled her eyes and pursed her lips. Wang Ting looked at Kang Yu and Little Chinga and said, "Follow me. I will bring you to the academy for registration." He came back in a hurry and hadn't enrolled the two of them. "You want them to join our 7th Stellar Academy?" Tong Yen asked. "Yes, when we returned, the Elder Guardian from the Poison Erosion world checked and stated there's no problem." Wang Ting nodded. "The Elder Guardian from the Poison Erosion world." Tong Yen was slightly surprised and nodded. Since the elder guardian stated it's possible, there shouldn't be a problem. Let's go. Wang Ting walked out of the manor. Kang Yu and little Chinga tagged along him hurriedly. We'll go with you. Tong Yen and the others also followed. Later, Wang Teng and the others boarded a spacecraft and directly arrived at the administrative office of the academy. The administrative office was, in fact, a grand hall located deep within the 7th Stellar Academy's continent. Generally, very few students would come here, and it was mainly guarded by some instructors. Of course, the instructor would change every once in a while. It wasn't fixed. This place handled various special matters within the academy. When the Stellar Academies recruited students, powerful individuals would go to different locations to complete the recruitment process through events like the League of Talents or other special means. Only a few particularly exceptional geniuses would enter the academy through more unconventional methods, such as going through the back door. Kang Yu and little Chinga were in a situation somewhat similar to this. As Wang Teng and the others descended from the spacecraft and looked around, they headed towards a grand hall with a sign that read Administrative Hall. As they went into the main gate, they saw a woman sitting cross-legged on a cushion near the hall's entrance, her head bowed. It seemed she was a student of the Stellar Academies. The surroundings were eerily quiet, with no one else around, and a rhythmic snoring echoed in the air. Chapter 2092. What should I do when a violent senior laid her eyes on me? 2. Wang Ting and Tong Yen exchanged bewildered glances, as this situation was quite unexpected for them. Were they at the right place? Tong Yen motioned toward the woman, signaling Wang Ting to approach her. Then, she said using voice transmission, "You go." Wang Ting hesitated and then gently pushed the woman, softly saying, "Senior, senior." The woman sitting on the cushion swayed and seemed about to fall to the ground. Wang Ting didn't know what to say. What kind of person was this? B0XO. At the very least, she was a martial warrior. Why was she sleeping so soundly? Wang Ting hurriedly reached out to support her to prevent her from falling to the ground. However, at that moment, he raised his eyebrows and stopped himself. Just as the woman was about to touch the ground, her body suddenly froze in a highly peculiar manner, as if the surrounding space had been frozen. Tong Yen and the others were also surprised and looked over. The woman slowly opened her eyes, appearing dazed, as if she hadn't fully woken up yet. Her eyes moved around a few times before finally settling on Wang Ting in front of her. "Oh my!" With a cry, the woman quickly straightened her posture and looked at Wang Ting with a serious expression, saying, "Junior, what can I do for you?" Wang Ting looked at the woman's stern face, and if it weren't for the drool at the corner of her mouth that hadn't been wiped off yet, he might have been fooled. He then pointed to his lips. The woman was momentarily puzzled and then suddenly realized. She reached out her hand, moving at an extremely fast speed, almost leaving only a blur behind. "Cough, Junior, what can I do for you?" Her voice this time was softer than before and carried a hint of guilt. Tong Yen and the others. "Senior, I've brought these two friends to complete their enrollment procedures," Wang Ting said with a faint smile, pointing to Kang Yu and little Chinga behind him. "Enrollment procedures?" The woman was momentarily surprised and instinctively looked at Kang Yu and little Chinga. Her face then showed a hint of astonishment. "Snake men." Kang Yu and little Chinga looked at her nervously. The lady frowned and said, "Junior, this isn't the time for the academy to admit talents. It won't be easy for them to enter the academy." "I understand, but they are geniuses," Wang Teng replied. "Geniuses?" The woman smiled faintly, and those two words had long lost their novelty within the academy. Who wasn't a genius in the academy? But out of respect for the reminder from Wang Teng, she patiently asked, "How much of a genius are they? Is there a specific standard for judging geniuses within the academy?" Wang Teng didn't answer directly and instead asked a question. The woman smiled and pointed at herself. "What do you mean?" Wang Teng hesitated before asking. "I am the standard." The woman pointed to herself and smiled. "Senior sister Yu Yenan." At this moment, Tong Yen, who was behind him, suddenly exclaimed. She rushed in front of Wang Ting and stared at the lady in front of her with wide eyes. "Are you senior sister Yu Yenan?" Oh, you know me? Yu Yanan looked at Tong Yen in surprise. I've heard my sister mention you. My sister is… Tong Yen giggled. Wait a minute, let me guess. Yu Yanan suddenly extended her hand to cover Tong Yen's face, then stroked her chin, examining her. You appear familiar, let me think, let me think. Suddenly, she clenched her fist and tapped her palm. I remember now. Your sister is Bu Tianjin, right? You have the same cute face, it must be her. Yu Yanan had a confident expression, looking at Tong Yen seriously. Tong Yen. Wei Ena and the others. Wang Ting. What do you mean by Bu Tianjin? The same cute face. Why don't you say they have the same 2 eyes and 1 nose? Suddenly, Wang Ting found that this senior seemed a bit silly and cute. Tong Yen, who is this senior? Wang Ting couldn't help but communicate through voice transmission. Yu Yanan, top 10 in the top 100 universe stage martial warriors ranking. She rarely appears in public but has quite a reputation, Tong Yen communicated. Top 10 in the top 100 universe stage martial warriors ranking. Wang Ting was slightly surprised. The top 100 universe stage martial warriors ranking was a ranking that he couldn't touch at the moment. The geniuses on that list were undoubtedly terrifying universe stage martial warriors. People of a lower stage could never defeat them. And she was among the top 10. Wang Ting's mind was in turmoil, and he couldn't react for a moment. This dazed and cute senior sister in front of him was in the top 10 of the universe stage martial warriors ranking? She didn't look like it at all. Tong Yen didn't pay attention to Wang Ting's astonishment and viewed at Yu Yanan in frustration, saying, Senior, my sister is not Bu Tianjin. Not Bu Tianjin? Yu Yanan was taken aback and said, that's not right, I guessed wrong. Wait, let me ponder again. Tong Yen rubbed her temples. Her head was hurting. Wang Ting had also regained his senses and looked at Yu Yanan. He wanted to persuade her. Senior, there's no need to be so fixated. I got it. I must be right this time, Yu Yanan suddenly shouted. Tong Yen viewed at her with hope in her eyes. Your sister must be Xu Xiangling, right? It must be her. Yu Yanan uttered firmly. Wang Ting's expression turned strange. Wei Ena, Bai Yao, and the others gazed at her with odd expressions. Why? Tong Yen inquired softly. She really wanted to recognize what the reason was this time. It couldn't be another girl with a cute face, could it? She's short like you, and she has baby fat on her face, Yu Yanan said. Chapter 2093. What should I do when a violent senior laid her eyes on me? 3. What's the difference between this and a cute face? Tong Yen said, feeling exasperated internally. Well, it's similar. Yu Yanan looked at her with a bit of guilt and said, I senti it. It's not. Tong Yen didn't give her another chance and quickly said, my sister is Tong Ya. Tong Ya. Yu Yanan felt enlightenment. It was a pity she didn't guess right. She looked at Tong Yen in confusion, but wait, you don't look much alike. Tong Ya doesn't have a cute face. Tong Yen was speechless. She felt as if someone slapped her. She said dejectedly, we looked similar when we were young but she grew up later, and I didn't. My condolences. Yu Yanan looked at Tong Yen and said with sympathy. Tong Yen. B0XO. What do you mean by my condolences? Tong Yen suddenly felt like hitting someone. These 2 words were more lethal than anything else. She and her sister were from the same parents, yet one was ranked among the goddesses, while she had a cute face. The disparity was truly frustrating. Hence, having not grown out of her childlike appearance was already a pain for her. Yet, her senior exposed this wound right in her face, and the feeling was beyond frustrating. It was just as her sister had described. Senior Yu Yanan sometimes acted like a silly person. Wang Ting found it somewhat amusing. Tong Yen usually had a cheerful demeanor, and this was the first time she looked so dejected. All right, back to business. Yu Yanan suddenly became serious. Since you know who I am, you should understand that passing this standard won't be so easy. Senior, I senti it unfair for you to step in like this. Wang Ting frowned. I will restrain my strength. We'll fight on an equal footing, And if you can make me use only half of my power, you'll pass, Yu Yenan said. Of course, the battle techniques and scripture use will be what I possessed at that time, not what I currently have. Restraining your strength, and we only need to make you use half of your power. Wang Ting looked very skeptical. Did this senior have too much confidence? Wang Ting, she's very powerful. Back then, with her Cosmos stage strength, she killed many Heaven stage martial warriors. After advancing to the Heaven stage, she even defeated Universe stage martial warriors, Tong Yen immediately said through voice transmission. Interesting. Wang Ting looked at Kang Yu and Little Chinga, relaying Tong Yen's words to them. Kang Yu and Little Chinga's expressions became serious, and they looked at the woman in front of them with awe. So, have you thought it over? Yu Yenan asked in a calm tone. We accept. Kang Yu stepped forward and looked at Yu Yenan. Good, you have courage. It's not often I encounter two snake women like you, and am curious to see if your talents are truly exceptional, Yu Yenan nodded. Wang Ting felt a hint of curiosity. It's not often that she encounters two snake women. Has this senior met other snake men in different places? Follow me. Yu Yenan got up and walked toward the back of the hall. Wang Ting and the others immediately followed. After crossing through a long corridor, Yu Yenan stopped in front of a door. She scanned her wristwatch near the door, and the door slowly opened. Come in. She entered the room in a flash, her voice lightly echoed. Wang Ting and the others exchanged glances and followed her inside. The scene inside surprised them slightly. This is... Wang Ting glanced around with astonishment. This was a vast white space, resembling the combat spaces of the freshman leaderboard. Clearly, this room used some space manipulation, and the interior space seemed much larger than it appeared from the outside. Yu Yenan stood not far ahead, watching them. After they finished their observations, she spoke. Who will go first? I'll go first. Kang Yu stepped forward and said. You're at the peak of the Heaven stage. In that case, I'll suppress my ability to the peak of the Heaven stage and fight with you. If you can force me to use half of my strength. Never mind, I seemed a little abnormal at that time. You can pass if you force me to use 30% of my strength, Yu Yenan said. Kang Yu. Kang Yu sensed slightly belittled. Were these Stellar Academy's martial warriors also powerful? She seemed unconvinced. Those warriors from the Stellar Academies who appeared on Scorpion King Planet were undoubtedly strong, but they didn't seem to be on this level. This senior is quite cocky, Wang Ting and Tong Yen communicated through voice transmission. She's a bit cocky, but she's genuinely strong. You'll see in a moment, Tong Yen replied with a wry smile. I understand, Wang Ting nodded. I'm looking forward to it, Wang Ting nodded. Let's begin. Yu Yenan extended her hand and made an inviting gesture towards Kang Yu. Don't hold back. Otherwise, you might not get another chance. Kang Yu's face turned serious. She understood the opponent's strength. Since Yu Yenan requested that she not hold back, she decided to unleash her full power. Boom. In the next moment, a massive phantom of a primordial oceanic serpent emerged from her back, exuding an antique presence as it rolled toward Yu Yenan. Interesting, this is bloodline power. Yu Yenan's eyes showed surprise as she faced the pressure, but her expression remained calm. Fascinating. Kang Yu wielded a sword, and the sword's radiance condensed as threads of sword conscious gushed out. This sword radiance carried the presence of constellation poison force and also the aura of constellation ice and water force. Originally a poison element martial warrior, Kang Yu had now awakened ice and water abilities, thanks to the bloodline power of the primordial oceanic serpent. Chapter 2094. What should I do when a violent senior laid her eyes on me? 4. As the three types of constellation forces converged, the sword radiance became even more intense, and within it, the power of three different domains also converged, making the sword radiance even more terrifying. Yu Yenan's eyes showed an even deeper sense of surprise. Wang Ting was astounded too. Three types of domain power. Kang Yu hadn't been idle in the past 6 months. Her strength had grown significantly. Boom. In the next moment, Kang Yu made her move. Her sword swung, and the intense, dark green sword radiance swept out, creating a cascading sound like waves, as if layer upon layer of ocean waves were crashing, accompanied by a chilling cold. Clearly, Kang Yu had already begun the initial fusion of her domains. Facing this sword, Yu Yenan remained extremely calm. She didn't even use a weapon but instead threw a punch into the sky. B0XO. Com boom. A thunderous roar resounded as a fist imprint appeared, colliding fiercely with Kang Yu's sword radiance. In an instant, the sword radiance shattered, and a terrifying force swept over from the opposite side. Kang Yu's expression changed slightly. Her body was sent flying, and her primordial oceanic serpent illusion dissipated. Although she was not injured, she was sent flying for hundreds of meters before barely coming to a stop. The result was clear. Faced with that punch, even with Kang Yu unleashing her full power, she was no match for Yu Yenan. Tong Yen and the others were in great shock. While they knew that Yu Yenan was strong, they hadn't expected her to be this powerful. Was this the strength of someone at the peak of the heaven stage? It was truly terrifying. Tong Yen and the others exchanged glances with one another. They couldn't calm down for a long time. They were extremely confident in their talents, but when they saw Yu Yenan's ability, they couldn't bring themselves to compare with her. There was simply no basis for comparison. Wang Ting's gaze flickered as he pondered whether he could match such power. Afterward, he shook his head, as that single punch did not reveal much about Yu Yenan's actual strength. He realized that the real assessment of her abilities would only come through an actual fight. Kang Yu's face appeared somewhat pale, as she could sense the immense power of the woman before her. Even though both of them were at the peak of the heaven stage, the difference in their strength was immense. Was this what they call a genius of the stellar academies? For the first time, Kang Yu felt the true strength of the stellar academies. Even an ordinary student was so formidable. She couldn't help but wonder what other students were like. It was truly unimaginable. Was that your strongest attack just now? Yu Yenan's voice slowly reached their ears. Kang Yu's eyes revealed a hint of unwillingness, but eventually, she sighed and nodded. Little Chinga was extremely nervous. Could her master pass the other party's test? If even her master couldn't make it, she wouldn't stand a chance. While she possessed innate bloodline power, her lack of combat experience hindered her from using it effectively. Tong Yen and her friends also looked on with furrowed brows. They were worried because she had barely caught that punch, and it seemed she was quite far from Yu Yenan's level. Wang Teng remained calm. If needed, he could seek help from Instructor Sikong. After all, that instructor still owed him a favor. With the right connections, there was no need to worry. Decent, I suppose. Yu Yenan furrowed her brow slightly. You barely make me use 30% of my strength so you can pass the test. Wang Teng glanced at the senior student, feeling somewhat surprised. He could tell that she wasn't entirely satisfied with Kang Yu's abilities, but in the end, she allowed her to pass the test. It appeared that this senior student was not as rigid as he had initially thought. Kang Yu's eyes lit up, and she let out a relieved sigh. Her core was filled with joy. She had passed. Initially, she had only been interested in joining the stellar academies as a way to boost her strength. But now, she had a completely different perspective. After witnessing the formidable power of the woman before her, she had gained a clear understanding of the academy's potential. She needed to stay here to become as powerful as this senior student. As for this little sister, there's no need for a duel. I can tell that their bloodlines are the same, and their talents meet the Stellar Academy's admission standards. With proper nurturing, they can become strong individuals in the future, Yu Yenan said, looking at Little Chinga. Little Chinga was elated. There was no need to combat anymore. Great. She didn't want to combat with this unbelievably strong lady. Wang Teng and the others were slightly surprised by this. The senior sister had been stern earlier, but now she seemed quite approachable, exhibiting a classic case of being stern with words but kind-hearted. She was soft-hearted. Well, thank you very much, senior sister. Wang Teng extended a fist in gratitude to Yu Yenan and smiled. Don't be in a rush to appreciate me. You, combat with me. Yu Yenan looked at Wang Teng and suddenly grinned. Wang Teng's mouth twitched. What does that have to do with me? Why are you challenging me to a combat all of a sudden? What should I do when a violent senior lays her gaze on me? This is very urgent. I need an answer immediately. Chapter 2095, taking a giant leap forward. 1. At this moment, Wang Ting found himself standing in front of Yu Yan'an. Yu Yan'an was rubbing her hands in excitement, eagerly preparing for the fight. He had no idea how he ended up in this situation. He was just standing there, not doing anything. Why was this senior sister suddenly challenging him to a fight? He felt rather puzzled. From a distance, Tong Yen and the others saw the look of frustration on Wang Teng's face and couldn't help but chuckle. But, after laughing, there was only astonishment left in their hearts. B0XO. They hadn't expected Yu Yan'an to initiate a challenge against Wang Ting. They had only heard about Yu Yan'an's strength before, but they had all witnessed it firsthand when she defeated Kang Yu with a single punch. Could Wang Ting defeat her? Most likely not. After all, Wang Ting was only at the Cosmos stage. The crowd was getting a bit excited. Wang Ting had remarkable talent, and if he managed to defeat Yu Yan'an after she suppressed her strength to the same stage, it would be nothing short of incredible. "I'll suppress my power to the Cosmos stage and fight you," Yu Yan'an told Wang Ting, her eyes filled with determination. "By the way, at what level of the Cosmos stage are you currently?" she asked again. "5th level Cosmos stage," Wang Ting replied casually. He had actually reached the 9th level in his constellation Poison Force, and the 6th level in his constellation Fire and Metal Forces, but he chose not to reveal that at the moment. It was already quite fast to advance to the 5th level of the Cosmos stage within half a year. As expected, when Tong Yen and the others heard that Wang Ting had reached the 5th level of the Cosmos stage, they were stunned. However, they were not too shocked. After all, Wang Ting's physical body was formidable enough to rival Heaven stage martial warriors. If Yu Yan'an suppressed her strength to the Cosmos stage, it might result in a big surprise. "In that case, I will suppress my stage to the 5th level Cosmos stage," Yu Yan'an said. "Why don't you raise your ability to the peak of the Cosmos stage?" Wang Ting suggested uncertainly. "Peak of the Cosmos stage?" Yu Yan'an raised his eyebrows in surprise. "It looks like you're very confident in yourself." "It's all right. Come on. If it doesn't work out, I'll naturally increase my strength to the peak of the Cosmos stage." "That works," Wang Ting nodded and said no more. Yu Yan'an was undoubtedly very powerful, and while he had confidence in his own abilities, it was wise not to underestimate someone without knowing their exact strength. Wang Ting couldn't use his real eye to see one's battle power. He could only see the general stage. The battle power of geniuses within the stellar academies couldn't be solely judged by one stage. The atmosphere between the two grew tense, and the surroundings fell silent. Tong Yen and the others stopped smiling and watched Wang Ting and Yu Yan'an closely. Yu Yan'an's eyes became extremely sharp as she focused on her junior brother. He gave off a different feeling, and his physical strength was like a dormant beast, truly formidable. If she was a martial warrior at the same level, she wouldn't be able to feel anything. However, she was at the peak of the universe stage, so sensed something unique about this junior brother. That was why she was eager to spar with him. It had been a long time since she encountered such a monstrous talent. In their batch, if she had to say who gave her a similar feeling, it was probably only those few individuals. "Senior sister, be careful," Wang Ting shouted. He suddenly attacked and dashed towards Yu Yan'an. Fast. Yu Yan'an's gaze subtly intensified, and instead of evading, she simply leaned slightly to one side. Boom! Wang Teng's fist carried a fierce gust of force as it passed before her eyes, causing a force explosion. Yu Yan'an kept her focus on Wang Teng's fist, and the gust of force stung her eyes. However, she didn't blink and thrust her hand out with iron-like precision, clamping down on Wang Teng's wrist. In that moment, her expression changed slightly. A powerful force surged from Wang Ting's wrist, accompanied by a searing sensation spreading towards her. Honestly, if her physical strength weren't so formidable, the temperature would be enough to cause injury. Despite the supposed suppression of her strength, her flesh remained at the peak level of the universe stage. It couldn't be suppressed. And it wasn't just a normal peak level. This was a fact that couldn't be changed. Even so, She felt the scorching sensation, as if her skin was about to ignite. Her gaze intensified, and she saw tendrils of blue flames enveloping Wang Ting, coalescing into scale-like structures on his arm. Inside Wang Ting's body, a fiery presence seemed to be on the verge of erupting. Without much consideration, she withdrew, retreating rapidly. Boom! In the next moment, a fierce emerald fire erupted from Wang Ting's body. This is a divine flame. Yu Yan'an was astounded. Wang Ting's ability exceeded her expectation. In the first round of their confrontation, Yu Yan'an hadn't even had the opportunity to strike. Far away, people like Tong Yen were too deeply shocked. Wang Ting was honestly impressive. Even in a battle against senior Yu Yan'an, he seemed to be slightly superior. At this moment, Wang Ting stepped out of the fire and looked at Yu Yan'an. "Senior sister, you should use your peak Cosmos stage ability." "All right." Yu Yan'an's face became serious, and Yu Yan'an didn't refuse. Her aura rose again, ultimately reaching the peak of the Cosmos stage. Boom! This time, even before Wang Ting able attack, she took the initiative and charged towards him, delivering a powerful punch. Wang Ting smiled slightly, showing no fear, and met her head-on. Boom! 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 The two clashed with their fists. Chapter 2096, taking a giant leap forward. However, the more they fought, the more amazed she became. Wang Ting's strength was much greater than hers, and she could feel that he hadn't even used his full power. Was this fellow really a Cosmos stage martial warrior? This thought appeared in Yu Yan'an's mind uncontrollably, leaving her unable to remain calm. "Senior sister, why are you daydreaming?" Suddenly, Wang Ting's voice rang out. The air burst with a sonic boom as a fist imprint erupted from his fist. Five-element fist. The power of the flames converged into a fist imprint, emanating a scorching intent. B0XO. Yu Yan'an's ability had exceeded his expectations. Her strength could match 3/5 of his. It was about 3/5, no more. Yu Yan'an didn't know what Wang Ting was thinking. If she knew that he was evaluating her strength in this way, she wouldn't know what expression to make. Facing the fist imprint unleashed by Wang Ting, her expression changed slightly. The battle techniques she used when she reached the pinnacle of the Cosmos stage flashed through her mind. A glint appeared in her eyes, and she threw a punch. Solid mountain fist. Boom! An earth-yellow fist imprint condensed and fiercely collided with Wang Ting's fiery fist imprint. Intense fluctuations of force swept through the vast white space as the two fist imprints successively collapsed. Soon after, a figure was sent flying backward. It was Yu Yan'an. Tong Yen and the others were greatly surprised, almost unable to believe their eyes. Senior Yu Yan'an was forced back. Was Wang Ting so strong? This was one of the top 10 in the top 100 universe stage martial warriors ranking. Even when she was at the cosmic level, she was a formidable presence. But now, Wang Ting seemed to have the upper hand. Moreover, senior Yu Yan'an was using a different level strength. She wielded the stronger peak of Cosmos stage power compared to Wang Ting. This was simply unimaginable. Kang Yu and Little Chinga were also extremely shocked, especially Kang Yu, who had fought Yu Yan'an directly and knew her strength. And now, Wang Ting was unexpectedly gaining the upper hand. She suddenly realized that she had underestimated Wang Ting all along. He constantly surprised her, whether in terms of talent or status. Even in this stellar academy, he seemed quite exceptional. Again, at this moment, Wang Ting let out a light shout, his figure bursting forward. He landed in midair and punched his fist at Yu Yan'an furiously. Encountering an opponent of equal strength wasn't easy, and now he was a bit interested, wanting to see just how powerful someone in the top 10 of the top 100 universe stage martial warriors list was. Boom! 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 The five-element fist exploded and the blazing domain congregated within it, emitting a terrifying fluctuation. This brat! Yu Yan'an was surprised, and the fighting spirit in her eyes became even more intense. Grinning, she raised her fist to meet him. Both shot into the sky, the power of their domains erupting. In midair, they collided fiercely, every punch distorting space as if invisible ripples spread in all directions. Such formidable attacks, if unleashed in the universe, would be enough to shatter a planet. However, within this confined space, everything was restricted, causing only a distortion in space. Senior sister, why don't you use your heaven stage ability? Otherwise, it's not exciting enough. Wang Tung shouted. Yu Yan'an was speechless. He was looking down on her. Boom. The next moment, she no longer held back, and a tremendously powerful wave burst from within her. This is, Wang Ting looked at Yu Yan'an with some surprise. That sensation was similar to his own, as if she had activated some kind of innate talent. Wang Ting, underestimating your senior is not going to end well for you. Yu Yan'an's voice was heard. Boom. In an instant, she had vanished from her original position, leaving only a lingering afterimage slowly dissipating. The velocity has increased. Wang Ting's pupils contracted. This velocity was much faster than before. He couldn't even catch a glimpse of her figure. Unexpectedly, this senior also possessed some kind of innate physical talent. However, it wasn't surprising considering the velocity and power she exhibited. It was beyond what ordinary martial warriors could possess. A gleam of light flashed in Wang Teng's eyes as he directly activated the ancient god's body. Previously, he had only used the true dragon battle physique, pseudo, not exerting his full strength. However, now that Yu Yan'an had demonstrated her strength, he deemed it worthy of unleashing his entire physical power. Swoosh! Wang Teng's heart unexpectedly began to beat violently, and a faint golden-colored blood flowed within him like mercury. Terrifying power spread throughout his limbs and bones. A complex and mysterious golden pattern appeared on his forehead. The next moment, Wang Teng's figure also disappeared from its original position, and a terrifying power burst forth. Boom! The two collided once again, in the sky like two enormous orbs, constantly clashing, separating, and clashing again. Tong Yen and the others retreated to a distance, watching the battle, somewhat astonished. Kang Yu and little Chinga swallowed their saliva uncontrollably. This was terrifying. These two must be monsters disguised as humans. After fighting for a while, Wang Ting's brow furrowed deeper and deeper. Unexpectedly, relying solely on physical strength, he couldn't shake this senior. In that case, 5-element fists. He no longer hesitated, and all 5 types of constellation forces erupted within him, transforming into 5 fist imprints of different colors. The power of domain merged into them. Crimson, yellow, green, blue, gold. The 5 different fist imprints merged into one as if turning into a mountain of the 5 elements, crashing towards Yu Yan'an. Boom! Finally, shock appeared in Yu Yan'an's eyes. 5 different forces. 5 domains. Moreover, each type of force and each domain were quite balanced, with no significant differences. Chapter 2097 taking a giant leap forward. 3. More importantly, in her perception, these 5 domains were extremely powerful, at least reaching the level of the 6th tier. How did this guy cultivate? In the cosmos stage, comprehending the domains of all 5 forces to the 6th tier, even those geniuses back then couldn't achieve that. At this moment, she didn't hold back anymore, nor could she. She released all the constellation force in her body. She wasn't a single-element martial warrior. She possessed 3 types of forces. Now, they all burst forth, transforming into fist imprints and exploding. Boom! 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 The attacks collided, fist imprints clashed, and waves of energy rolled, sweeping out a terrifying force. B0XO. Com crack. A crisp sound of shattering echoed. Suddenly, Yu Yan'an's fist imprint collapsed with a thunderous roar, and a terrifying primal force surged, sending her flying backward. The 5-element fist glows shot toward Yu Yan'an like a hot knife cutting through butter. Yu Yan'an gave a bitter smile. A terrifying power erupted from his body. She reached out, and with a thunderous sound, she directly crushed the 5-element fist imprint. At that moment, the space in front of her fluctuated, and Wang Ting appeared abruptly, throwing a punch. Bang! Yu Yan'an was flabbergasted. She immediately felt excruciating pain in her left eye. It went black for a moment, and her head was thrown backward from the impact. Her face turned dark and she reached out to Wang Ting. The space constriction took effect. This guy had some nerve, actually daring to hit her. "Senior sister, you're breaking the rules," Wang Ting shouted, and the power of space erupted, breaking the opponent's constraint, disappearing from the spot. Yu Yenan grabbed the air. She stared at her empty hands in astonishment. Looking up, Wang Teng's figure slowly emerged in the distance, watching her warily. Feeling her left eye socket, Yu Yenan took out a mirror and checked. She now had panda eyes. She gritted her teeth, looking at Wang Ting in the distance. Her gaze became somewhat dangerous. At this moment, the surroundings suddenly fell into silence. Tong Yen and the others were all dumbfounded. Did they see it correctly? Wang Ting actually hit senior Yu Yenan. Impressive. Kid, you've got some nerve. Yu Yenan put away the mirror and looked at Wang Ting. Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. I didn't expect you to suddenly stop fighting. Wang Ting chuckled. I've already used a strength beyond the peak of the cosmos stage. What's the point of fighting? Yu Yenan felt his head hurting. She was puzzled. This fellow did it on purpose. It must be on purpose. However, she was genuinely surprised. That was a space technique, right? This fellow possessed space skills. It seemed that physical strength wasn't his only skill. He was hiding quite a lot. Thinking back to the domain power Wang Ting had unleashed moments ago, she felt even more speechless. Actually, she had cheated just now. The domain power she used wasn't something she comprehended at the peak of the cosmos stage. She only understood it after reaching the heaven stage. So, compared to this junior in front of her, her previous self was far inferior. It's not intentional. I just didn't react in time. Senior, you're at least at the peak of the cosmos stage. How could I have expected to actually hit you? Wang Teng protested. Yu Yenan collected her thoughts, her expression turning dark. As a universe stage martial warrior, she had been hit by a cosmos stage martial warrior, and with so many people watching. She felt embarrassed. She glanced around, and Tong Yen and the others immediately adopted the attitude of I didn't see anything, avoiding eye contact with her. So fake. However, she couldn't do anything. After all, she was the one who used strength over the peak of the cosmos stage, and that put her in a hard position. Everyone wanted to laugh when they saw Yu Yenan's frustrated expression. However, they didn't dare to. If they laughed, their senior sister would hit them. Cough, cough. Wang Ting cleared his throat, nervously saying, Senior, if there's nothing else, we'll take our leave. HMPH, leave? Without completing the enrollment procedures? Yu Yenan snorted, not in a good mood. Of course. Wang Ting hurriedly looked at Kang Yu and little Chinga. Hurry up and go with her to complete the procedures. You, come too, Yu Yenan said, landing on the ground, sporting black eye circles, and heading outside. Wang Ting heaved a sigh of relief. It looked like this matter was over. That was dangerous. If this senior hadn't let it go, he would have been no match for her in a fight, and he would have had to run away. Tong Yen and the others all gave Wang Ting a thumbs up, their faces filled with admiration. Wang Teng, from now on, I will only be convinced by you, Tong Yen stated via voice transmission. Wang Teng rolled his eyes. He was too lazy to care about her. Hurry up. Yu Yenan's displeased voice came from outside the door. Coming. Coming. Wang Teng and the others hurriedly followed. Of course, before leaving, Wang Teng didn't forget to collect all the attribute bubbles around him. Cosmos Realm Spirit * 6500 Universe Realm Enlightenment * 25500 Earth Constellation Force * 7200 Water Constellation Force * 8000 Metal Constellation Force * 7800 Earth Domain, 7th rank, * 1300 Water Domain, 7th rank, * 1500 Metal Domain, 7th rank, * 1200 Divine Level Physique Talent * 18500 Wow. Wang Ting was surprised. There were many attribute bubbles. As expected of the top 100 universe stage martial warriors. She only used his peak cosmos stage ability, but she dropped so many attribute bubbles. Chapter 2098, taking a giant leap forward. 4. First, there were the spirit and enlightenment attributes. There were many of them, allowing Wang Ting's spirit and enlightenment to rise greatly. Spirit, 75100200000, Cosmos Realm, Enlightenment, 2305003000000, Universe Realm. This senior sister's spirit and enlightenment are not weak, Wang Ting muttered to himself as he looked at the changes on the attributes board. It was understandable. After all, the other party was at the peak of the universe stage. Even if she only dropped a small portion of his spirit and enlightenment attributes, it was still a huge gain for him. Wang Ting didn't dwell on it and continued to look further. There were 3 types of force attributes. B0XO. Com Yu Yenan released 3 forces at the last moment and dropped many attributes. If Yu Yenan had used only one type of force for that final punch, Wang Ting's attack would have been unstoppable. There was a cause for every effect. If Wang Ting hadn't used all his 5 basic forces, Yu Yan wouldn't have been forced to release her 3 types of forces. Getting attribute bubbles wasn't easy. He had to work hard. Wang Ting couldn't help but feel emotional. He then glanced at the attributes board, quite satisfied with the gains from this encounter. Constellation Earth Force, 2220050,000, Cosmos Stage 5th level, Constellation Water Force, 2260050,000, Cosmos Stage 5th level, Constellation Metal Force, 2130060,000, Cosmos Stage 6th level. Then, there were the 3 domains. All of them are at the 7th rank. This senior sister managed to grasp 3 7th rank domains at the peak of the Cosmos stage. Impressive. Wang Ting exclaimed in his heart. If he didn't have the system, even at the peak of the Cosmos stage, he might not have been able to comprehend 7th rank domain power. On the other hand, Yu Yan completely relied on her understanding to comprehend 3 7th rank domain powers, which was the true mark of a genius. He didn't know that Yu Yanan was cheating. When she was at the peak of the Cosmos stage, she only had a 6th rank domain. She didn't have a 7th rank domain. Metal domain, 3507,000, 7th rank. Earth domain, 2907,000, 7th rank. Water domain, 2807,000, 7th rank. Wang Ting immediately looked at the last attribute bubble. The attribute bubble directly merged into Wang Ting's body, transforming into a peculiar force that swept through his entire body, causing some mysterious changes. Divine level physique talent. Wang Ting was astounded. He guessed that Yu Yenan possessed some kind of physical talent, but he didn't expect it to be of this level. He received this divine level physique talent from Gallop when he was refining his physique in the Lightning Valley. Wang Ting was able to absorb a large amount of essence blood power in the blood pool this time, not only because he practiced various powerful body refinement techniques but also because of this divine level physique talent. Generally speaking, the higher the physical talent, the stronger the body's ability to withstand various enhancements to physical strength. Hence, Wang Ting was quite fond of this divine level physique talent. At this moment, Yu Yenan had dropped 18,500 points of divine level physique talent attributes. To Wang Ting, this was enough to raise his divine level physique talent by a huge level. Divine level physique talent, 1985050,000. Senior sister Yu Yenan's talent must be more advanced than Gallop's. I'm lucky this time. I wonder when I'll have the chance to spar with her again. Wang Ting thought to himself as he felt the changes in his physical talent. As Wang Ting was taking stock of his gains, he followed the others outside. After some time, they returned to the hall. Yu Yenan stood at the entrance of the great hall and seemed to be waiting for something. Senior sister? Wang Ting asked in confusion. Wait, Yu Yenan said calmly. Oh, Wang Ting sighed, realizing that she wasn't in the mood to talk. To avoid getting scolded, he obediently stayed quiet on the side. Kang Yu and little Chinga found it amusing that this guy could also be timid. After waiting for some time, space fluctuations appeared, and suddenly, an illusory figure materialized in front of the hall. The person's figure was blurry, making it impossible to see her face. Some details suggested that the person might be a woman. Wang Ting was surprised. If the person hadn't appeared directly in front of them, he wouldn't have even sensed her presence. He couldn't help but open the real eye to look, only to be dazzled by a bright light, forcing him to close his eyes. The figure glanced at Wang Ting with surprise, smiled slightly, and said, "Young one, don't casually probe unfamiliar strong beings. I was reckless. Please forgive me." Wang Ting opened his eyes and looked at the person, feeling somewhat embarrassed. Yu Yan'an looked at Wang Ting in surprise. Then, he could not help but feel a bit pleased. Serves him right. "It's all right." The figure shook his head and replied calmly. "Master." At this moment, Yu Yan'an came forward and greeted her respectfully. "Master?" Wang Ting was shocked. This person was Yu Yan'an's master. How powerful was she to be the master of a universe-stage martial warrior? Wang Ting didn't dare to imagine. When he probed earlier, he didn't see everything, and the person in front of them seemed to be a projection, not the real body. A projection with such overwhelming power, how terrifying would the actual person be? It was unimaginable. Tong Yen and the others stood at the side obediently. They were equally astounded. The person before them was actually Yu Yan'an's master. They felt fortunate to encounter such a prominent figure today. Encountering such a big shot was indeed rare, and today they were fortunate to meet a real one. "Are these the two snake women genius you mentioned?" The figure nodded and glanced at Kang Yu and Little Chinga. "Yes, they were brought by Junior Wang Ting. I've tested them, and their talents and strength are good. That's why I troubled Master to come and take a look," Yu Yan'an explained. "It's rare to encounter two snake women geniuses." The figure sized up Kang Yu and Little Chinga, then spoke gently, "Come forward." Kang Yu and Little Chinga looked at Wang Ting. Wang Ting nodded naturally. Faced with such a powerful figure, they would do whatever was told. If the person had any malicious intent, they wouldn't be able to resist anyway, so it was better to lie low and comply. Of course, it wasn't likely. After all, this was an instructor from the Stellar Academies. How could he be a bad person? The figure had a deep and profound gaze. Seeing this scene, there was no trace of impatience. Kang Yu and Little Chinga immediately walked over when they saw Wang Ting nodding. "Relax." The figure stretched out his hand and placed it on Kang Yu and Little Chinga's wrist, seemingly sensing something. She nodded slightly and said, "Very good talent. Elder, can they enter our academy now?" Wang Ting asked with a flattering smile. "Where did you find them?" The figure smiled slightly and inquired. "Poison Erosion World, Scorpion Kingstar," Wang Ting replied. "So that's where." The figure nodded, then glanced at Kang Yu and Little Chinga, suddenly saying, "I have a few Naga legacy here. Are you willing to be my disciples?" A look of surprise appeared on Wang Ting's face. The figure wanted to take them as disciples. He initially thought it was already great that Kang Yu and Little Chinga could enter the academy. He never expected their luck to be so good, being noticed by such a powerful figure who wanted to take them as disciples. Yu Yan'an's master must be an extraordinary figure. This was definitely a large shot. How could such a good thing not involve him a bit? On the other side, Tong Yen and the others were too shocked with wide-open mouths. Senior sister Yu Yan'an's master wanted to take Kang Yu and Little Chinga as her disciples. Oh my god! This was like ascending to the heavens in one step. Chapter 2099. Time is tight. Wang Ting's trump card. 1. Master. Her words left everyone stunned for a moment. Everyone was in a daze. Yu Yan'an reacted first, desperately gesturing for them to agree. Hurry up and agree. No one knew her master's ability better than her. They were extremely lucky to be able to get her master to take them in personally. Hurry, agree. Wang Ting also realized the significance and quickly spoke to them using voice transmission. Kang Yu and Little Chinga heard Wang Ting's words and knew that this person must be extraordinary. They bowed without any hesitation. B0XO. Com Master. Good. The figure smiled faintly, then turned to Wang Ting, teasingly saying, "I'll be taking them with me. Any objections?" "No objections, no objections at all. How could I have any objections? It's their good fortune to have you as their master," Wang Ting hurriedly replied. Smooth talker. The figure chuckled. The space rippled and she looked at Kang Yu and Little Chinga. "Let's go." The voice echoed faintly, and then she turned and stepped into the fluctuating space. Kang Yu glanced at Wang Teng. Go ahead. Wang Teng nodded slightly. Without further words, Kang Yu held little Chinga's wrist and stepped into the fluctuating space. Kang Yu and little Chinga left. Outside the hall, only Wang Teng and his companions remained, sighing in amazement. I never expected the teacher to accept them as disciples directly, Yu Yan'an laughed. Looks like I've gained 2 more junior sisters. Senior sister, what stage is your master at? Tong Yen asked curiously. Guess. Yu Yan'an said. Tong Yen was speechless. Senior sister, you're being mischievous. I'm not sure about master's ability, but she must be very strong. Yu Yan'an chuckled. I envy them so much. Kang Yu and little Chinga have such good luck, being taken as disciples by a powerful master right after entering the stellar academies. Our experience of finding a master was so much more difficult, Tong Yen sighed, expressing both admiration and envy. There was something she didn't say out loud. The master they painstakingly found was probably not as formidable as Kang Yu and little Chingas. She couldn't say it out loud. If their master heard it, they might get beaten up. This kind of luck was truly enviable. A few days ago, Kang Yu and little Chinga were just natives of a small world. Now, their backgrounds were even more impressive than hers. They had to accept this reality. Senior sister, we should leave. Wang Teng took out his spacecraft and stooped at Yu Yan'an. Come find me for a spa when you have the time, Yu Yan'an said. Wang Teng felt guilty. The gaze of that senior sister gazed terrifying as if she wanted to devour him. But everything was for the sake of attribute bubbles. All right, no problem. Wang Ting reluctantly agreed, waved his hand, and then turned towards the sky, entering the spaceship. Senior sister, we're taking our leave too. Tong Yen and the others suppressed their laughter, also bowing to Yu Yan'an before flying towards the sky. As everyone stepped into the spaceship, the Devil Slayer morphed into a streak of light, speeding away into the distance. Inside the spaceship, Tong Yen and the others couldn't hold back their laughter any longer. They burst into laughter. Wang Ting, you're too timid. Tong Yen said with contempt. I'm timid. She wanted to beat me up, Wang Ting retorted. Because you turned her into a black-eyed panda. You make her embarrassed, Tong Yen sighed. I didn't expect it. Can't blame me, Wang Ting defended himself. I think you did it on purpose, Tong Yen said. Anyway, Kang Yu and little Chinga have a master now. Will little Chinga call Kang Yu master or senior sister in the future? Wang Ting shrugged and changed the topic with a smile. Definitely senior sister. Addressing her as master wouldn't be appropriate with that elder around. But it's fine. In the cultivation world, strength is what matters most. Kang Yu being little Chinga's master before was acceptable, but now it's not suitable. I believe she understands this principle. Moreover, being senior and junior doesn't affect their relationship. They can still be close. That's true. Wang Teng nodded. He wasn't bothered by these things. He just found it amusing. In the vast universe, sometimes the difference between senior and master is not that significant. Some masters go into seclusion for hundreds of years, barely paying attention to their disciples, only occasionally coming out to impart some knowledge. The rest of the time, it's the seniors who take care of things, Tong Yen added. Are those masters so irresponsible? Wang Teng was speechless. After reaching the heaven stage, especially after reaching the universe stage, time loses its significance for cultivators. They spend more time on cultivation, Tong Yen said. Wang Teng nodded. It wasn't surprising. Heaven stage martial warriors had a lifespan of 10 million years. As long as they didn't get beaten to death, they had ample time. At the universe stage, their lifespan increased to 100 million years. Cultivating in seclusion for a few hundred years was nothing. However, Wang Teng still felt a bit surreal. He had killed several heaven stage martial warriors and almost killed a universe stage martial warrior. What's more, it was a universe stage dark apparition. If he wasn't saved at the last moment, Wang Teng might have added a universe stage dark apparition wraith to his record. Thinking about it, having a long lifespan alone wasn't enough. He needed to be powerful enough. Otherwise, they were just long-lived turtles. Suddenly, Round Ball's voice appeared in Wang Ting's mind. Chapter 2100 Time is tight. Wang Ting's trump card. 2. Wang Ting, I have bad news for you. What bad news? Wang Ting frowned and asked. He was stunned. 5 days later, the freshman leaderboard will close and the Grand Disciple acceptance ceremony will commence, Round Ball said concisely. 5 days later. That's fast. Wang Ting furrowed his brows even more. You came back too late. If not, we wouldn't be in such a hurry, Round Ball said helplessly. It looks like we can't wait any longer. Wang Ting shook his head and turned serious. He said to Tong Yen, I'm going to the alchemy volcano to make some pills. You can go back. Make pills. Tong Yen and the others' eyes lit up. They exchanged glances, all showing interest. They quickly smiled and said, We'll accompany you. B0XO. Don't be silly. I'm not going to play, Wang Ting replied. I'm not being silly. Tong Yen was speechless. Did he think of her as a child? She smiled and said, I've always been curious about your alchemy efficiency. I want to see if it's that extraordinary. That's right, President. Please satisfy our curiosity. Bai Yarrow smiled too. He changed the way he addressed Wang Ting, no longer calling him junior but starting to refer to him as President. Fine, do as you please. Anyway, when I'm refining pills, you can only wait outside, Wang Ting shook his head nonchalantly. Don't be so stingy. Can't you let us in to take a look? Tong En's eyes rolled around. She grabbed his arm, swaying like a little girl, shaking him, and coquettishly said, Just let me have a peek, okay? Senior sister, how old are you? Wang Ting looked at her strangely. I'll always be 18. Tong Yen glared at him and replied angrily. Senior sister is really young. Wang Ting said, But you can't. Don't you know that you can't watch alchemists when they're making pills? I don't know, Tong Yen replied. Now you do, Wang Ting replied. TSK, I'm not looking. You stingy fellow. Tong Yen rolled her eyes at him. I'm not talking to you anymore. Wang Ting shook his head in amusement. This senior sister was indeed childlike, behaving like a kid who hadn't grown up. He asked Round Ball to control the spacecraft and head to the alchemy volcano. After some time, volcanoes could be seen in the distance. The spacecraft slowly landed on one of the volcanoes. Volcano number 6. This was the place for Grandmaster 7th level and above alchemists to make pills. Wang Ting used to make pills here. Wang Ting kept the spacecraft and came to the middle of the mountain. He walked towards the Great Hall. Many figures were walking around the hall. Many people recognized Wang Ting and looked over in surprise when they saw him. Why did he come to the alchemy volcano? One of the ladies wearing the academy uniform immediately came forward. Her eyes lit up. Grandmaster Wang Ting. A voice was heard. It's you. Wang Ting smiled and nodded when he saw the person. This lady was the beautiful senior sister who served him the previous time. It looked like it was her again. Nevertheless, she was still a beautiful woman, and having a beauty provide service was quite pleasing to the eyes. Grandmaster Wang Ting, do you need to rent an alchemist room? Lin Qian swayed her graceful body and walked over with a mesmerizing smile. Many other staff members, witnessing this scene, realized they had no chance and couldn't help but glare at Lin Qian's departing figure. They cursed her for being a seductive fox. Not bad, Wang Ting. Tong Yen joked Wang Ting using voice transmission when she saw this scene. The 3 males, Bai Yarrow, Yuan Bai, and Qin Quan were envious when they saw Lin Qian's appearance. They grumbled in their hearts. So what if you're a Grandmaster alchemist? Why was this beautiful lady being so proactive? As men, they expressed their strong condemnation. Cough, I'm not close to her. Wang Ting cleared his throat awkwardly and elucidated using voice transmission. Grandmaster Wang Ting. Lin Qian called him again when she saw that he didn't reply to her. Oh, right. Please help me rent a secluded vacant alchemy room. I need to use it, Wang Ting replied seriously. Sure, wait a moment. Lin Qian grinned and operated the machine. Soon, She found an alchemy room that met Wang Ting's requirements and asked, "How about this alchemy room? It's located in the right corner of volcano number 6. Due to the terrain, there are fewer alchemy rooms around." She knew that Wang Teng's alchemist activities could cause a huge commotion, so she chose an alchemy room in the most remote area. "Not bad, this one will do," Wang Teng affirmed approvingly. "Okay." Lin Qian, seeing Wang Teng's satisfaction, was also pleased. She immediately helped him secure the room and then said, "I'll take you there." Subsequently, the group, led by Lin Qian, flew towards the alchemy room. "These are?" Lin Qian inquired curiously when she noticed Tong Yen and the others standing behind Wang Teng. "They are my friends. You don't have to care about them," Wang Teng said. Lin Qian nodded. She glanced at Tong Yen and Wei Yina's faces and felt a little discouraged. As expected, Grandmaster Wang Teng never lacked beauties around him. This time, he brought 2 more. She couldn't find any gaps to exploit. Soon, they arrived at the alchemy room Wang Teng had rented. After leading Wang Teng there, Lin Qian was about to take her leave, but after some hesitation, she said, "Grandmaster Wang Ting, can we exchange contact information? Next time you come, you can notify me in advance and I help you find and reserve an alchemy room first." Chapter 2101 Time is tight. Wang Teng's trump. 2101 Time is tight. Wang Teng's trump card. 3. Alright. Wang Teng glanced at the other party and nodded in the end. A hint of surprise flashed past Lin Qian's eyes. Although she knew that Wang Teng might not have any other intention, at least she had his contact number. After exchanging contact information, Lin Qian bid farewell and left. Watching her figure depart, Tong Yen approached with a smile. "Wang Teng, you're quite fortunate. Beautiful women seem to follow you everywhere. Do you count?" Wang Teng glanced at her, asking in return. "Well," Tong Yen choked. Was she being flirted with? Ignoring her, Wang Teng walked straight into the alchemy room and said to the others, "Wait for me outside. Time waits for no one. I must make the pills quickly." Tong Yen and the others, seeing his serious expression, didn't dare to joke further. They nodded and watched him enter the alchemy room. Inside the alchemy room, Wang Teng sighed in relief, sat cross-legged, and said to Round Ball, "Help me to contact the Grandmasters from the Secondary Career Alliance. When in doubt, find the Grandmasters of the Secondary Career Alliance." To quickly enhance the cultivation of Constellation Society members, special pills tailored to their needs were necessary. In this regard, he was sure that those Grandmasters from the Secondary Career Alliance knew additional than he did. Moreover, 2 heads were better than 1. If the Grandmasters discussed together, they would definitely be able to find a pill that met the requirements. Soon, the communication with the Grandmasters was established. "Ha ha ha, Grandmaster Wang Ting, it's been a long time since we last communicated." Grandmaster Hua Yuan's image appeared on the screen, laughing heartily. "Grandmaster Hua Yuan." Wang Ting smiled at him and explained, "I've been cultivating recently and haven't had the time to contact everyone. I apologize." "No problem. No problem. You're a martial arts genius, and you surely need to spend additional time on martial arts cultivation." Grandmaster Hua Yuan was quite understanding. However, he couldn't help but feel a bit regretful. Grandmaster Wang Ting's talent in alchemy was not weak either, and he was also a triple-field Grandmaster. If he devoted all his energy to the secondary profession, he could undoubtedly become a rare triple-field alchemy saint in the world. He might even be able to reach a higher level. "Grandmaster Wang Ting, how have you been recently? I heard that the competition in the Stellar Academies is very fierce." Grandmaster Harrell appeared on the screen at the side as she asked with a gentle smile. For these Grandmasters, Wang Ting was still quite young, so besides the usual peer interactions, they also took care of him like a junior. "It's good, made quite a few friends." Wang Ting laughed. He chatted casually with the Grandmasters for a while before getting to the main topic. "Do any of you know of any pills that can quickly enhance the strength of Cosmos Stage warriors?" Wang Ting asked. "Enhance the strength of Cosmos Stage martial warriors?" Grandmaster Hua Yuan and the others were momentarily surprised. He asked, "Is it for your use?" "No, it's for someone else. Wang Ting shook his head. Grandmaster Hua Yuan and the others didn't inquire further. After some thought, they said, at the cosmos stage, if we talk about the best pill, it has to be the heavenly essence gathering pill. This pill can gather the forces of heaven and earth to rapidly enhance strength. Since everyone's force attributes are different, the gathered essence will also vary, making it suitable for warriors of any attribute. Of course, the effect is best for the 5-element attributes. For other attributes, it's better to find a place densely packed with the corresponding attribute and then take the pill. Based on experience, this kind of pill can at least raise a level, and in some cases, it can even raise 3 or 4 small levels. Oh, it can vary from person to person. In that case, this pill does seem to be the most suitable, Wang Ting said thoughtfully. And being able to enhance by 1 to 3 levels is sufficient. The Grandmasters of the Secondary Career Alliance were indeed knowledgeable and profound. They could casually provide information about such pills. However, this pill is a 7th level pill, and it's not easy to refine, Grandmaster Harrell reminded. Rest assured, I know my limits, Wang Ting smiled. The others knew that Wang Teng's alchemy skills were exceptional, and he had probably made significant progress during this period. If he had reached the 6th level Grandmaster level, he might even be able to refine 7th level pills. Little did they know that Wang Ting had already reached the pinnacle of the Grandmaster level and successfully refined an exceptional Grandmaster level pill. What's more, he wasn't creating 1 or 2 heavenly essence gathering pills now. He was preparing to mass produce them. Such a crazy approach was beyond the imagination of outsiders. Solving the force aspect is easy, but battle strength involves additional than just the cultivation of force. Wang Ting furrowed his brow again. Grandmaster Wang Ting, if you have any questions, feel free to speak up. We can discuss and brainstorm together. Grandmaster Hua Yuan seemed to sense that Wang Ting had something on his mind and spoke with a smile. I wonder if there are any pills that can enhance one's understanding or enlightenment. Wang Ting asked. Ha ha ha, Grandmaster Hua Yuan couldn't help but laugh and said, I was wondering what it was. Of course, there are pills like that. If martial warriors can think of creating pills to enhance original force, naturally, they can think of pills to enhance enlightenment. Chapter 2102 Time is tight. Wang Ting's trump card. 4. Pills that enhance enlightenment naturally involve the mental aspect, so they could be considered a type of spiritual pill. The difference between pills that enhance enlightenment and ordinary pills lies in an additional step, which is integrating the enlightenment into the pill, explained Grandmaster Hua Yuan. After listening, Wang Ting understood. He nodded and said, I wonder what kinds of pills fall into this category. There is the realm nurturing pill that assists in understanding domains and the source cultivation pill that assists in understanding the origin. These are all recorded in the alchemy formulas of our Secondary Career Alliance. If you search according to your requirements, you should be able to find them, Grandmaster Hua Yuan said. Realm nurturing pill, source cultivation pill? Wang Ting nodded and expressed gratitude to Grandmaster Hua Yuan and the others, saying, I understand. Thank you for your guidance. You're welcome. You're welcome. Grandmaster Hua Yuan and the others smiled. This was a trivial matter for them, but helping Wang Ting made them extremely happy. However, these enlightenment-enhancing pills are quite special. Their grade is related to the level of enlightenment integrated. Take the realm nurturing pill, for example. If you integrate a first-rank domain, it becomes a first-rank Grandmaster level pill. If you integrate a second-rank domain, it becomes a second-rank Grandmaster level pill. Even at the same grade, the difficulty of refining these pills is much higher than that of ordinary pills, Grandmaster Harrell explained. B0XO. I see. Wang Ting nodded thoughtfully. With your attainments, refining these kinds of pills shouldn't be too difficult. At most, there might be a few failures, but success is inevitable, Grandmaster Hua Yuan said, pausing for a moment before adding, by the way, these pills have some drawbacks. Generally, they can only be taken 3 times. After 3 times, some immunity develops, and it becomes impossible to gain insights through the pills. All right, I understand, Wang Ting nodded. With limited time, he didn't chat further with Grandmaster Hua Yuan and the others. After a brief conversation, he ended the communication. These grandmasters are like walking repositories of alchemical formulas. Ask them about anything, and you'll get an answer. Round Ball couldn't help but laugh. That's the advantage of having strong foundations, Wang Teng smiled. He then logged into the Secondary Career Alliance through the virtual network and found the alchemical formulas he needed. Heavenly Essence Gathering Pill. Realm Nurturing Pill. These were the two pills he planned to refine. One for enhancing force and the other for enhancing domains. Most of the talented martial warriors in the stellar academies had comprehended domains. Now, Wang Teng aimed to help his Constellation Society members improve in the domain aspect. He didn't care about the rest. Enhancing force and domains should be sufficient. If it still wasn't enough, then they were just too untalented, and it had nothing to do with him. However, when he saw the contribution required to exchange for the formulas of these two pills, Wang Teng fell into a moment of silence. Heavenly Essence Gathering Pill, 100,000 contribution point. Realm Nurturing Pill, 200,000 contribution point. 300,000 contribution points is a little expensive. Wang Teng was speechless. The so-called contribution refers to the contributions that secondary professionals make to the Secondary Career Alliance. The Secondary Career Alliance wouldn't simply give out alchemical formulas for free. There must be a give-and-take relationship. This was one of the natural laws of the universe. In the past, when he became a triple-field Grandmaster, the Secondary Career Alliance rewarded him with some contribution points. Later, he also completed several tasks from the Secondary Career Alliance, earning quite a few contribution points as well. However, he used up all the points when he exchanged for the 1,000 grass elixir and the other herbs. Now, the formulas for these two pills would cost him 300,000 contribution points, which could be considered quite expensive. 300,000 contribution points were no small amount. Even for Grandmaster level tasks, one would need to complete several of them to accumulate 300,000 contribution points. However, thinking about the preciousness of these two formulas, Wang Teng felt somewhat resigned. In the outside world, these two formulas would undoubtedly be extremely rare, and some alchemists might not even have access to them. In this sense, the Secondary Career Alliance was already offering favorable terms to secondary professionals. After checking his contribution points, Wang Teng ultimately chose to IOU. Yes, that's right. In the Secondary Career Alliance, you could write an IOU. It didn't matter. He could always pay it back with the next set of tasks. The Secondary Career Alliance was indeed very human-centric. After all, it wasn't afraid of individuals trying to avoid their responsibilities. The only one at a disadvantage would be the person attempting to evade their commitments. No one would jeopardize their relationship with the Secondary Career Alliance over a small amount of contribution points. It simply wasn't worth it. Being able to enjoy various benefits within the Secondary Career Alliance, running away over a few 100,000 contribution points would be short-sighted. After exchanging for the two alchemical formulas, Wang Teng took a glance and gained an understanding of the botanicals required. Some herbs he already possessed, so there was no need to exchange them. However, there were quite a few esoteric herbs that he had to spend points to acquire from the academy. Everything requires an equivalent exchange. Wang Teng shook his head helplessly, then informed Lin Qian to bring the required spiritual herbs. During the time he waited for the botanicals to arrive, Wang Teng carefully studied the formulas for the two pills. He closed his eyes and immersed himself in contemplation, thoroughly digesting the information. Having never refined these two elixirs before, he knew that he had to be cautious during the refining process. After all, spiritual botanicals were not cheap, and saving wherever possible was essential to avoid unnecessary waste. Soon, the needed spiritual botanicals were delivered, personally brought by Lin Qian. Anyone could see her attentiveness. After seeing Lin Qian off, Tong Yen and the others, wearing peculiar expressions, carried the box containing the spiritual botanicals and approached the door of the alchemy room. Tong Yen rapped on the door. Chapter 2103. Time is tight. Wang Teng's trump card. 5. Wang Teng, that beauty brought you the spiritual herbs again, Tong Yen said. I know. Wang Teng, immersed in his contemplation of the alchemical formulas, responded casually. He took the box, closed the door with a bang, and continued his focus. Tong Yen looked frustrated, wanting to say something but not getting the chance. He's preparing for alchemy, don't disturb him, Wei Na said. She looked at Tong Yen's disgruntled expression and couldn't help but laugh. Okay, Tong Yen sighed. I didn't expect him to take alchemy so seriously. What did you think? He's a pinnacle grandmaster-level alchemist. It's said that these grandmasters are exceptionally focused in their work, far beyond the reach of ordinary people. Today, I got to witness it myself, Bai Yarrow remarked. I wonder what pill he will refine. It's intriguing. Tong Yen, not dwelling on the previous incident, quickly shifted her focus, becoming curious again. B0XO. Wei Na and the others were caught between laughter and tears. They ignored her and looked at the alchemy room in anticipation. However, they knew that alchemy would take some time. Fortunately, there was a spacious lounge and practice room here, more than enough for them to use. While Wang Ting was immersed in alchemy, in the headquarters of the Qingyang Society. In a room, continuous crashing sounds could be heard, causing people passing by to step away quickly. The vice president is smashing things again. That's right. Since coming back, who knows how many things she has smashed already. The vice president is really infuriated by Wang Teng this time. It seems like there's no end to it. He went too far this time. Our vice president is such a beautiful woman, but her face is swollen. But is he really at the cosmos stage? The vice president couldn't retaliate at all. Yeah, it's only been half a year, and that Wang Teng's strength has become so formidable. The discussions within the Qingyang Society were incessant, and many were expressing their shock and concern about Wang Teng's strength. His return had indeed left a profound impact on many. Feng Qingyang walked over with a stern face, and the members of the Qingyang Society around immediately fell silent, not daring to say more. Feng Qingyang arrived at the door of Wan Banlian's room and knocked. Who? The sounds from inside disappeared instantly, followed by Wan Banlian's icy voice. It's me. Feng Qingyan's voice calmly came through, and without waiting for a response, he pushed the door open and entered. Don't come in. Wan Banlian's words were cut short as she turned quickly, not letting Feng Qingyang see her current state. I've already seen it. There's no need to hide. Feng Qingyang gazed around at the messy chamber and frowned. It's just a loss. There's no need to mess up the room like this. It's inappropriate. It's easy for you to say. As a woman, being beaten like this in public, do I still have the face to meet people? Wan Banlian's tone carried deep resentment as she sneered. Feng Qingyang did not seem to care. He found a seat and casually sat down, saying, Wang Teng's strength did exceed my expectations. We were all caught off guard. Our President Feng also has his moments of miscalculation, Wan Banlian mocked. No need for such sarcasm. This young man indeed possesses formidable talent, and we all underestimated him, Feng Qingyang said. Perhaps not just me, but those few as well. Feng Qingyan's calm words seemed to calm Wan Banlian down somewhat. She didn't say anything more and fell into silence for a moment before asking, is this star-ranking genius so extraordinary? Thinking about the strength Wang Ting had displayed earlier, she couldn't help but feel uneasy. From what I know, even those from the previous generation might not be much better, Feng Qingyang said. What should we do then? Wan Banlian's expression changed slightly, and she asked urgently, we've already developed quite a bit of enmity with him. Are we going to watch him grow to that level? What about our foothold? Don't be anxious. He hasn't fully grown yet, and we still have a chance, Feng Qingyang stated with a cold smile. Moreover, that person probably doesn't want to see him grow so easily. While Wang Teng is undoubtedly a genius, he doesn't realize how to restrain himself. Has revealed his edge too early, making enemies. It won't be a good thing for him in the future. Besides, the growth of such a genius is destined to be a bloody path. Even if he wants to hide, he won't be able to. Wan Banlian was not foolish. She had been momentarily clouded by anger earlier, but now, gradually regaining her composure, she nodded. Through gritted teeth, she added, Are we just going to stand by and watch? I can't swallow this anger. Don't worry. If I don't do anything, wouldn't it make people gaze down on me? Feng Qingyan's eyes glinted with a cold light. And in 5 days, the Grand Disciple Acceptance Ceremony shall commence. The freshman leaderboard will close, and most likely, many members of the Constellation Society will fail to make the cut. It will be the perfect time to strike against the Constellation Society. 5 days, he came back too late, Wan Banlian sneered. Even if He's an expert alchemist at the peak of the Grandmaster level, he can't simultaneously elevate the strength of a whole group of people. Rest well. I'll settle this score for you. The Constellation Society is destined to disappear, and this is just the beginning. Feng Qingyang extended his hand, holding a jade bottle with a medicinal ointment inside. Using his force, he directed it toward Wan Banlian, saying, "This is an ointment prepared by a Grandmaster alchemist. Apply it on your face, and you'll recover quickly." Well, I knew you wouldn't just stand by while I'm being bullied. Wan Banlian reached out, and the jade bottle landed in her palm. Her tone softened. Feng Qingyang smiled faintly and turned to leave. If Wang Ting were to witness this scene, he would probably curse these scheming people. Chapter 2104. Is this young friend really an alchemist? 1. The Constellation Society. The remaining members of the Constellation Society were all gathered in a manor. There were around 300 people left. It was undeniable that the suppression from the Constellation Society and the encroachment of other forces had dealt a severe blow to the Constellation Society. Initially boasting over 2,000 members, the society had now dwindled to just a little over 300. Fortunately, most of those who departed were peripheral members. Individuals like Yu Chichiao were not foolish. Many who joined recently were enticed by the reputation and benefits associated with Wang Teng, only seeking personal gain and never considering contributing to the Constellation Society. These recent additions were essentially in an observational phase. Now that they had left, it indicated that they couldn't withstand the scrutiny, and their departure wasn't regrettable. B0XO. On the other hand, the remaining 300 members, many of whom had been with the Constellation Society from the beginning, held a different sentiment toward the organization. Even in the current dire circumstances, none of them were willing to give up. At this moment, Yu Chichiao stood before the assembly, surveying the group. She could discern the anxiousness in everyone's eyes as the news of the Grand Disciple Acceptance Ceremony circulated. 5 days. There were only 5 days. It was too short. Would they still have a chance? Many individuals couldn't help but feel a slight wavering in their hearts. They had initially believed that Wang Teng's return would lead them to a resurgence. However, reality proved to be far from easy. Everyone sighed. They were uncertain about their future. Upon arriving at the stellar academies, these individuals were full of enthusiasm, thinking that they could carve out a new path. Yet, reality dealt them a harsh blow. The competition within the stellar academies was even more terrifying than in the outside world. They were undoubtedly talented, but greater geniuses were resembling formidable mountains standing in their way. Moreover, they faced oppression from senior students. If they didn't resist, their only choice would be submission. "Vice President, how about we go for the freshman leaderboard now?" Someone broke the silence, suggesting a proactive approach. "Yes, Vice President, let's compete for the freshman leaderboard now, there's still time. Our strength may be a bit lacking, but doing something is better than doing nothing. If we fall short, so be it. At most, we'll face some challenges when seeking an apprenticeship, but we still have a chance to catch up later." Someone took the lead, and others echoed the sentiment. After all, they were all geniuses, and they had considerable confidence in themselves. Being behind now didn't mean they would always lag behind others in the future. Yu Yunxian and Borit were present. They looked at everyone and frowned. As time drew closer, the emotions of the group became somewhat restless. Silence. A cold voice came out of Yu Kikiao's mouth. The surroundings immediately fell silent. "Don't you believe the president?" Yu Chichiao looked at everyone and asked calmly. "Vice President, it's not that we don't trust in the president, It's just a matter of time. Someone began to speak, but their words were cut off. Don't we still have 5 days? Even if it's 3 days, what's the issue? Don't you understand the president's capabilities? Yu Qiqiao spoke in an extremely indifferent tone. The last time, the president made more than 10 furnaces of Grandmaster-level pills in 3 days. Do you think time is insufficient? You don't understand, boss. He's best at creating miracles. Wade stood up and smiled. The expressions of the crowd changed as they looked at Wade. In the previous showdown with the Qingyang Society, Wade's ruthless and decisive execution left a deep impression on all the members of the Constellation Society. If they had thought Wade was somewhat timid before, only relying on flattering Wang Ting and his computer skills to join the Constellation Society, their understanding had completely changed now. He might seem timid, but he was, in fact, a ruthless person. To martial warriors, reputation was built through battles. Wade's previous combat record had already proven everything. No one dared to underestimate him anymore. At this moment, his words naturally carried considerable weight. Moreover, his various performances declared that, while he might flatter Wang Teng, he genuinely believed in him. In contrast, many of them, despite not flattering Wang Teng openly, lacked a certain level of trust compared to Wade. For a moment, many felt ashamed of themselves. Just a while ago, the president informed me that he has gone to the alchemy volcano. Yu Qiqiao continued. The president went to the alchemy volcano. Many people's eyes lit up. Everyone trusted Wang Teng's alchemy mastery. Now that he had gone to the alchemy volcano, within 3 days, there should be results. Since the president is willing to fight for us, why should we not trust him? Yu Qiqiao continued. In 3 days or even less, the president will come out of the alchemy volcano. I trust that each of us will gain something. This is what everyone deserves. Since you have chosen to trust in the Constellation Society, we will not disappoint you. Everything will be revealed in 3 days. After Yu Qiqiao finished speaking, everyone's gaze turned firm. All right. Let's anticipate for 3 more days. Yes, waiting for 3 more days won't hurt. We trust in the president. The president will lead us to the top. The members of the Constellation Society were all shouting enthusiastically as if they had taken some kind of stimulant. Yu Qiqiao heaved a sigh of relief. She managed to convince them. Leading a faction was truly exhausting. Chapter 2105. Is this young friend really an alchemist? 2. Wang Ting just left everything to her. After this incident passed, if Wang Ting didn't compensate her in some way, Yu Qiqiao decided she would quit. This was too much. Even if he treated her like a donkey, he should still give her some benefits. Wade and Borit glanced at her in admiration. The vice president was getting more and more powerful. Her skills at hoodwinking people were now comparable to the president's. Yu Yunxian looked at her in surprise too. Dealing with such matters was tricky even for him, but she handled it effortlessly. She was truly not simple. Volcano number 6. B0XO. In the alchemy room Wang Teng was in. 9 furnaces lined up in a row, placed above the common fire vent, with raging flames burning beneath. These flames displayed various colors. There was a cyan hue, a fiery red, and even a pure and sacred white. Wang Teng used the emerald glazed flame, the soul of Thousand Beasts flame, and the holy flame at the same time. Time was pressing, leaving him with no other choice but to do this. The efficiency would be faster if he used all 3 flames at once. Fortunately, Wang Teng could multitask effortlessly, and his spiritual power was robust enough to control all 3 at once. Inside the alchemy chamber, intense heat swept through, filling the entire room. If it weren't for the fact that this alchemy chamber was constructed from special insulating materials and Wang Ting's intentional control, preventing the unbridled spread of the divine flame's temperature, this room would likely have collapsed already. Even so, the surrounding walls were continually warming up. Outside, Tong Yen and the others felt something amiss too. They exchanged glances with one another. Do you feel the temperature rising? Bai Yarrow hesitated before asking. Indeed. Yuan Bai nodded. As a fire element martial warrior, he was naturally highly sensitive to temperature changes. When the temperature inside the room altered, he felt it immediately. Everyone looked towards the tightly closed door of the alchemy chamber. What kind of temperature can actually spread out from the alchemy chamber? Qin Quan exclaimed. They knew a thing or two about alchemy. The alchemy chamber could isolate temperatures, making it challenging to perceive what was happening inside. Yet, they clearly sensed the temperature changes, which was truly unimaginable. I remember that he has a divine flame, Tong Yen said. Is a divine flame so scary? Yuan Bai turned serious. To fire element martial warriors like us, a divine flame is a great weapon. Unfortunately, divine flames are not easy to subdue. Many martial warriors have died in the process of trying to tame them, so much so that most martial warriors are discouraged from attempting it. Tong Yen shook her head. In the end, we don't have that kind of luck. Yuan Bai shook his head. The impression the president gives me is that of a child of fortune. He can tame a divine flame. With such luck, he's beyond ordinary people. Little did he know that Wang Ting had subdued not just one divine flame. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, most of the day had gone by. Inside the alchemy chamber, the fragrance of pills wafted from the 9 furnaces, filling the entire room. Almost done. Wang Ting slowly opened his eyes, a gleam of excitement flashing within. A subtle curve formed at the corners of his mouth. To succeed in one attempt, and simultaneously refine 9 furnaces of pills. Even alchemy Saint Dao Yuan wouldn't believe it if he knew about this. No one could have anticipated that Wang Ting would be so audacious, simultaneously refining 9 furnaces of Grandmaster 7th level heavenly essence gathering pills. This was no ordinary pill. Even an alchemist at the peak of the Grandmaster level wouldn't dare to say that he could make 9 furnaces of Grandmaster 7th level pills at once. However, Wang Ting dared not relax at this moment. This was the final crucial juncture. The slightest mistake could lead to the failure of all 9 furnaces. His expression became extremely serious as he divided his spiritual power into 9 strands, simultaneously controlling the 9 furnaces and gradually lowering the temperature. Each step of the alchemical process corresponded to a specific temperature. When approaching the final stage of pill formation, excessively high temperatures must be avoided, and the temperature needs to be gradually stabilized. These seemingly simple details were, in fact, extremely delicate, and the slightest deviation could result in failure. Inside the alchemy chamber, the fragrance of the pills became increasingly intense, permeating the surroundings. However, it was entirely confined within the alchemy chamber, preventing it from wafting outside. Suddenly, the pills being condensed in the furnaces became unstable. Oh no! Wang Ting's expression changed slightly. He immediately made a sweeping motion with his large hand, releasing his constellation wind force. A gentle breeze emanated, sweeping away the dense scent around the pill furnaces. Simultaneously, he promptly opened the roof of the alchemy chamber, allowing the fragrance to dissipate into the air. Normally, if it were just a typical fragrance, even if it were slightly intense, it wouldn't have a significant impact. However, the fragrance of the Dan was too strong. It was formed from 9 ovens of pills and had already affected the last moment of the Dan condensation. This was not a good thing. During the crucial phase of pill condensation, if this overflowing scent infiltrated, it would only destabilize the medicinal properties of the pills and cause them to break. Fortunately, Wang Ting possessed powerful spiritual strength and discovered the issue in time, intervening to disperse the fragrance. If not, he might be the first Grandmaster alchemist to flop because of the thick fragrance. That would be a huge blunder. If the other Grandmasters knew about this, they would laugh one's head off. As the roof opened, the scent immediately wafted out, drawing the attention of many. Simultaneously, dark clouds gathered in the sky, hovering above Wang Ting's alchemy chamber. The surroundings instantly darkened. Chapter 2106. Is this young friend really an alchemist? 3. The approaching dark clouds were ferocious and dense, or rather, viscous, resembling a mass of ink that sprawled menacingly across the sky. This scene left onlookers astonished, prompting them to lift their gazes in unison. Even many alchemists who were taking a break were stirred. They stepped out onto the balconies outside their respective alchemy chambers, gazing up at the sky. What a dense calamity cloud! Which Grandmaster is concocting pills? This pill must be at the 9th level Grandmaster level, right? No, it must be a supreme rank pill. A 9th level pill wouldn't be able to gather such a terrifying calamity cloud. Supreme rank pill. Which Grandmaster level peak alchemist is concocting it? B0XO. I think that ever since Grandmaster Wang Ting made a supreme rank pill half a year ago, no other Grandmasters have made a supreme rank pill, right? It's not easy to make a supreme rank pill. It might only appear once every few years. The murmurs of discussion continued to echo. This commotion attracted an increasing number of onlookers. Alchemists were an inherently gossip-prone group, especially when it came to news related to alchemy. Such matters would undoubtedly capture their intense attention. Over at the administrative hall, many individuals also ascended into the sky, gazing towards the location of the calamity clouds. Lin Qian had been closely monitoring the alchemical progress on Wang Teng's side. Aware of Wang Teng's alchemical efficiency, she immediately guessed that he must have successfully concocted pills. What's more, it must be a supreme-grade pill. Is that Grandmaster Wang Teng? Yang Meng discreetly approached Lin Qian and inquired through voice transmission. Yes. Lin Qian nodded. This person seems quite formidable. Yang Meng's eyes revealed a hint of astonishment. Lin Qian smiled faintly, conveying her thoughts through a voice transmission. I've never seen such a formidable alchemist like him. Is this perhaps innate talent? Inside the alchemy chamber leased by Wang Teng, Tong Yen and others were also alerted. They all looked towards the sky, and then quickly shifted their gaze to the entrance of the alchemy room. Is this commotion caused by Wang Teng's alchemy? Tong Yen widened his eyes, expressing a sense of incredulity. It seems so, Yuan Bai said as he swallowed his saliva. Why does it feel like the disturbance caused by his alchemy is much greater than others? Wei Ena looked at the sky and said, that sensation, even I feel oppressed, especially within the enveloping range of the calamity clouds. I feel as if I can get attacked at any moment. The fright caused by the concoction of these pills surpasses the excitement. Tong Yen chuckled bitterly. She had initially been highly anticipating the pill concocted by Wang Teng, but now, at this moment, she was somewhat alarmed. Boom! A deep thunderous roar echoed from within the calamity clouds, and silvery white lightning streaked through the pitch-black calamity clouds like gigantic pythons. Inside the alchemy chamber, Wang Teng's eyes lit up with increasing joy as he focused his gaze on the 9 furnaces. Boom! 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 The next moment, a series of thunderous roars resounded, and 9 immensely robust pillars of light simultaneously soared into the sky, each carrying impeccably round pills slowly rising within. The people outside were dumbfounded. What was going on? 9 pillars of light. Many even questioned their own eyes, wondering if they were seeing things or experiencing an illusion. How could there be 9 pillars of light? Was it some kind of hallucinogenic pill? This was not entirely impossible, as some pills had hallucinogenic effects, manifesting various bizarre illusions right after being concocted. Perhaps this batch of pills was one of them. Otherwise, who in the world would produce 9 pillars of light from a single batch of pills? This defied all principles of alchemy. Inside the alchemy chamber's resting room, Tong Yen rubbed her eyes, took several more glances, and only then confirmed that there were indeed 9 pillars of light. She had almost thought she was mistaken. 9 pillars of light. What in the world was this person concocting? Wei Ena and the others exchanged glances with one another. They were confused. At this moment, more chemists were alarmed and came out. Even some alchemists who were in the midst of concocting pills had their efforts ruined by this tremendous commotion. They emerged from their alchemy chambers with disheveled looks, cursing and grumbling. Normally, alchemy chambers were sufficient to block out any external disturbances. However, the commotion caused by Wang Ting was so significant that many couldn't simply turn a blind eye. The inevitable outcome was that curiosity led to explosions. Curiosity killed the cat. The chemists could only swallow their grievances. They had bitter feelings but no way to express them. However, as they stepped out of the alchemy chambers and witnessed the scene, their resentment turned into sheer astonishment. Watching through a video feed within the alchemy room and directly witnessing it from the outside were two entirely different experiences. The impact of the calamity clouds was overwhelming and intense, leaving them in a state of profound shock. Boom! Within the calamity clouds, the lightning reached its pinnacle. Suddenly, 9 thunderbolts simultaneously descended, crashing toward the pillars of light. 9 thunderbolts, celestial wrath like a prison. In an instant, the entire world was illuminated, and an eerie silence enveloped everything. All things came to a standstill as if only those 9 bolts of lightning existed. Each of the 9 bolts of lightning corresponded to one of the pillars of light, striking down independently. The inexhaustible power of lightning erupted, sweeping through. Overhead, the space above Wang Teng's alchemy room was instantly filled with lightning, resembling a forbidden zone of lightning that repelled any attempts at approach. Boom! The second wave of thunder descended, even more frightening this time. There were now 18 thunderbolts in total, with each pillar of light facing a dual onslaught of thunder. The power of lightning in the surroundings grew increasingly fearsome, pervading the sky. Lightning foxes darted around incessantly, sealing off the area around the alchemy chamber. This is no illusion. At this moment, someone finally realized and exclaimed. Others also snapped out of their daze, gazing at the scene with shock. Their worldviews were completely overturned. Chapter 2107. Is this young friend really an alchemist? For this was real. It wasn't an illusion. Their minds were struggling to process this, utterly bewildered by what was happening. Why were there 9 pillars of light? Boom! Before the crowd could ponder further, more lightning descended from the celestial calamity clouds. This time, it was a barrage of 27 lightning tribulations, with each pillar of light facing 3 lightning tribulations. A total of 27 thunder tribulations simultaneously descended. B0XO. Everyone present, including the Grandmaster alchemists, had never witnessed such a phenomenon. They stared at the calamity lightning in a daze, completely immersed in the unparalleled celestial might, unable to regain their senses for a long time. Among the 3 Grandmasters acquainted with Wang Teng, 2 were present today. They were Grandmaster Pu Yongnian and Grandmaster Cecilia. They stared at the sky, their expressions filled with astonishment. Even Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan appeared. He stood in the air with his hands behind his back and looked at this scene with a strange expression. Beside him, there was another figure. The figure was that of a middle-aged man in his 30s or 40s. Compared to Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan, he undeniably appeared much younger, but an air of profound experience surrounded him. He exuded an elegant temperament and was exceptionally handsome. It seems like he simultaneously concocted 9 batches of pills. The middle-aged man's eyes flashed with a strange light as he spoke. Yes, simultaneously concocted 9 batches of pills, forming 9 pillars of light. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan seemed to recall something and shook his head with a smile. What's the matter? Do you know who's concocting the pills? The middle-aged man, a person of considerable stature, noticed the peculiar expression on Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan's face and curiously asked. It feels very familiar. If I'm not mistaken, I should know who it is, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan replied. Oh, tell me about it, the middle-aged man said. Remember that young man I mentioned to you before? It should be him, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan replied. The young Grandmaster alchemist who made the yin-yang dragon essence pill? The middle-aged man was surprised. Yes. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan nodded. Last time, when you spoke of him, you seemed to have high hopes for him. Seeing him today has only intensified my curiosity, the middle-aged man smiled. Simultaneously concocting 9 batches of pills, and at the Grandmaster 7th level, this young friend dares to think and act. He's far beyond the average alchemist. He wouldn't be able to achieve this without profound expertise in alchemy, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan praised. With this kind of progress, this young friend is likely to ascend to the saint level, standing alongside us, the middle-aged man nodded in agreement. Many Grandmaster-level alchemists had also discerned the situation, speculating that this alchemist had indeed simultaneously concocted 9 batches of pills. But this speculation was even more shocking. Making 9 furnaces of Grandmaster-level pills at once was crazy. Many alchemists had attempted to simultaneously concoct multiple pills, but most could manage at most 3, and even then, the success rate was extremely low. Yet here was someone simultaneously concocting 9 furnaces of pills, and succeeding at that. It was truly unimaginable. As the third wave of lightning passed, signs of instability appeared in the 9 pillars of light, and the pills inside began to stir. Oh no, the pillar of light can't withstand the lightning calamity anymore. Many Grandmasters, witnessing this scene, had a subtle change in their expressions. Their concerns grew. They all wished to witness the successful birth of these 9 furnaces of pills. This was a significant event for the entire alchemical lineage. However, it was only the third wave of calamity lightning, and the pillars of light were already showing signs of collapse. What came next was even more uncertain. Undoubtedly, other means would be needed to fend off the calamity lightning. If it were just a single furnace, blocking the remaining calamity thunderbolt wouldn't be too difficult, and they believed the Grandmaster alchemist concocting the pills would have a solution. However, now it was 9 furnaces of pills. Even with just this third wave of calamity lightning, there were already 27 tribulations in total, far surpassing the usual number of calamity thunderbolt for a 9th grade pill. In the next 4th and 5th waves, the number of bolts of calamity lightning would undoubtedly be even higher. How could they possibly withstand this? If it were them, they would probably have abandoned the pills long ago and fled to avoid being struck to death by the calamity lightning. Boom, boom, boom. At that moment, the 4th wave of calamity lightning swiftly followed, and the pitch-black calamity clouds churned violently. Countless flashes of lightning gathered, coalescing into 36 thunderbolts that descended with a resounding crash. Below, Tong Yen and the others were on the verge of panic, their hearts pounding, and their scalps felt as if they were about to explode. They had only come for a spectacle, but it appeared as if they had unwittingly become involved in a serious matter. Now, deep within the heart of the thunder tribulations, they felt their lives were in imminent danger, ready to be forfeited at any moment. "Oh my goodness, I want to go home," Tong Yen wailed loudly. "I'll never watch Wang Ting's alchemy again. It's too dangerous." Wei Ena, Bai Yao, and the others felt the same way. Their lips trembled as they looked at the lightning calamity in the sky. "Look at how timid you are." A voice echoed from the alchemy chamber, and Wang Ting's figure appeared. Wang Ting. Chapter 2108. Is this young friend really an alchemist? 5. Boom. The terrifying force of the calamity lightning completely engulfed Wang Ting's body, accompanied by intense stabbing sensations. Gasp. Wang Ting immediately drew in a sharp breath. Damn, this time, he had gone a bit too far. Even with the lightning slap blocking a few, there were still around 32 bolts of lightning left, all crashing onto his body. It was a truly formidable challenge. He didn't have the time to think. He immediately activated all his physiques. True Dragon Battle Physique. Ancient God's Body. B0XO. A green flame swept out, coalescing into dragon scales of flames on Wang Ting's body. Simultaneously, a rushing sound emanated from within him as a mysterious golden pattern appeared on his forehead. Then, Divine Level Physique Talent. After activating this talent, the cells within him immediately became incredibly active. The overwhelmingly terrifying force of the calamity lightning instantly transformed into a special power, refining his physique. With the divine level physique talent in operation, it continuously tempered his flesh and blood. That's Grandmaster Wang Ting. Many people were surprised to see Wang Ting appear. Ever since Wang Ting made the Yin-Yang Dragon Essence Pill, many people at the volcano recognized him. Now, seeing him again, everyone knew that this Grandmaster who crazily concocted 9 batches of pills was the extremely young Master Wang Ting. Grandmasters Pu Yongnian and Cecilia couldn't help exchanging glances, followed by a bitter smile. They were speculating which Grandmaster it might be, never expecting it to be the Grandmaster Wang Ting they knew. At the same time, their astonishment deepened. Grandmaster Wang Ting's alchemical skills were becoming increasingly unfathomable. Concocting supreme-grade pills and simultaneously concocting 9 furnaces of Grandmaster-level pills were not feats within the reach of an ordinary Grandmaster. Some distance away, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan and the middle-aged man were also looking at this scene in astonishment. Is he using the thunder tribulations to temper his body? The middle-aged man's gaze was keen, expressing surprise. I forgot about that. This young friend also has strong martial talent. Has a genius on the star rankings, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan remarked thoughtfully. After all, he was recruited by the stellar academies based on his martial talent. This is good. The higher his martial cultivation, the greater the help for his future alchemical achievements, the middle-aged man commented. Boom. The 5th wave of lightning brewed within the calamitous clouds, an endless convergence of thunderous power even more terrifying than before. Everyone gazed at the sky with solemn expressions, silently perspiring on behalf of Wang Ting. This lightning calamity was terrifying. No one had ever successfully concocted 9 furnaces of Grandmaster-level pills, so no one knew how fearsome the lightning would be. Now, everyone knew. And the sensation was incredibly clear, as if they were just one step away from experiencing it themselves. As they watched Wang Ting's figure amidst the thunderous glow, they marveled silently and felt a profound admiration. Grandmaster Wang Ting's physical body was remarkably robust. He was able to withstand the relentless onslaught of so many thunder tribulations. For some reason, they suddenly felt a twinge of envy. After all, being able to withstand thunder tribulations seemed quite enjoyable for alchemists. It was like a group of frail scholars suddenly having a physically strong man who excelled in both academics and physical prowess join them, surpassing them in every way. The feeling was one of envy and admiration. Of course, there was also concern. The lightning calamity was too terrifying. If, by any chance, Wang Ting were accidentally struck down, the alchemical world would lose an unparalleled genius. It would be a regrettable loss. Before long, the 5th wave of calamity lightning reached its zenith, and 45 thunderbolts descended. Wang Ting sat cross-legged in the sky, his eyes closed. Amidst the thunderous onslaught, he remained unmoved, as if transformed into an unyielding and unbreakable stone statue. Many were deeply moved by this sight. Boom. Soon after came the 6th wave of calamity lightning, dense and numerous. A total of 54 thunderbolts fell like gigantic serpents, connecting the heavens and continuously bombarding Wang Ting. Everyone felt their facial muscles twitching uncontrollably, and even a layer of goosebumps appeared on their skin. It seemed as if their bodies couldn't help but tremble under the relentless assault. 54 bolts of lightning. The pressure was truly overwhelming. Yet, it was not over. The calamitous clouds continued to churn violently, leaving the onlookers numb. What kind of Grandmaster-level pills was Grandmaster Wang Ting concocting? Boom. Amidst the intense roar, many people's eyes narrowed, and exclamations filled the air. What's that? They witnessed the calamitous clouds slowly rotating, transforming into a dark and in-depth vortex. All the thunderous energy converged towards the center of the vortex. A sudden change occurred. Countless bolts of lightning gathered at the center, this time seeming not to emphasize quantity. Something's wrong. The middle-aged man in the distance spoke with unusual seriousness. Because of this young friend's intervention, the thunderbolts are gathering into a mass rather than remaining separate. Hes in danger. Great danger. This last wave was originally supposed to be 63 bolts of lightning. If they gather together. Oh my. Even Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan sucked in a cold breath, feeling that Wang Ting was a bit reckless. He insisted on simultaneously concocting 9 furnaces of pills, and now it seemed like things had escalated. Are there any powerful physique martial warriors here? If you don't help this young friend, I'm afraid he might die, the middle-aged man said with a bitter smile. Where can we find powerful physique martial warriors now? Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan shook his head. Tong Yen and the others turned pale. They felt that their time had come. It's over. It's over. We're done for. Tong En's eyes trembled as she circled the room, visibly frightened. What do we do? Yuan Bai swallowed hard and asked. What can we do? Who can withstand such a powerful lightning calamity? Tong En complained. We are going to get killed by Wang Ting. If things get really bad, we'll use all our life-saving methods together to withstand this wave, Wei Ena suggested. That's all we can do. Tong En gritted his teeth and said resentfully, if we don't die this time, it'll make Wang Ting compensate us for our losses. As they discussed how to resist the calamity lightning to save their lives, Wang Ting also sensed the abnormality of the last wave of tribulations. He looked up, revealing a trace of shock in his eyes. Damn, these thunder tribulations were cheating. It was supposed to be 63 thunder tribulations, but they unexpectedly gathered together. This wasn't fair. He didn't understand why this sudden change occurred. He hadn't done anything special. He was just resisting the lightning as usual. It wasn't the first or second time. Why was the reaction so intense this time? Could it be that these calamity lightning were feeling petty? Did they think he was handling them too easily, so they decided to throw a bigger challenge at him? Wang Ting was a bit frustrated and helpless. The last wave of tribulations was brewing to the extreme, ready to burst forth. He could only brace himself. However, he immediately thought of the last time he faced the tribulations in the chaotic Uncharted. Using the power of chaos seemed to aid in the transformation of his physical body. Wang Teng's eyes flashed with determination as he immediately triggered the Chaos Constellation scripture, converting all the force within him into chaotic energy. Boom! At this moment, the calamity lightning at the center of the cloud finally descended with a mighty force, transforming into an immensely thick lightning pillar that struck Wang Teng. Terrifying power swept towards Wang Teng's body, seemingly intending to completely destroy his flesh and obliterate him within the thunderstorm. Gritting his teeth, Wang Teng endured the intense pain and circulated the chaotic energy he had just converted throughout his limbs, repairing the damage to his body. His divine-level physique talent was also in frenzied operation, constantly undergoing refinement and absorbing chaotic energy to repair the damages caused by the destruction. Time passed slowly. This last lightning calamity lasted a full 10 minutes before slowly dissipating. The dark clouds in the sky also dispersed, returning to their original brightness. The suffocating pressure that had enveloped everything finally disappeared. All around, there was complete silence. Everyone held their breath, looking towards the dissipating point of the last calamity lightning. A figure slowly emerged. He was not wearing armor, and his clothes were torn apart. He wore black pants on his lower body, and his upper body was bare, revealing a perfect set of muscles. The residual lightning danced on his muscles, presenting a shocking sight. Even more incredible was that besides the torn clothes, the figure's flesh showed no signs of damage. It was as if the lightning had not harmed him in the slightest. Above those perfect and harmonious muscles, a faint glow emanated, as if carved from precious jade. Below, Tong En and the others, holding onto their life-saving items, stared blankly at Wang Ting in the sky, dumbfounded. Is this young man really an alchemist? The middle-aged man from afar couldn't help but inhale sharply, turning to ask Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan. I don't know either. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan suddenly doubted himself. Chapter 2109, Grandmaster Wang Ting, please hold on. 1. This is so painful. In the sky, Wang Ting slowly opened his eyes and couldn't help but grimace. It was so painful. Even though the calamity lightning had dissipated, he still felt intense pain throughout his body. It seemed like every cell was enduring an inhuman agony as if being bitten by 1,000 ants. Despite Wang Ting's current physique, enhanced by the blood pool, this sensation made him feel like dying. This lightning calamity is even more terrifying than the one I met in the chaotic Uncharted. Wang Ting shook his head speechlessly. He felt that he was at loggerheads with the lightning calamity. Every once in a while, he would get struck by lightning. And with each encounter, the tribulations became more and more terrifying. He didn't do anything wrong, right? Why was the heavens treating him this way? Fortunately, he promptly thought of using chaotic energy. The combination of chaotic energy and his divine-level physique talent quickly repaired his body, or else he would be in trouble. Even someone like him would have struggled to recover in just a few days. But now, the most crucial thing for him was time. If he couldn't refine the pills due to the calamity lightning, it would be a problem. The little ones below were eagerly waiting to be fed. This was the advantage of the divine-level physique talent. Without it, he couldn't heal his body quickly even if he had the chaos energy. He must thank senior sister Yu Yenan. His divine-level physique talent rose tremendously because of his senior sister. Of course, the chaos energy was an indispensable part, and without this unique power, the divine-level physique talent wouldn't exert such a significant effect. Suddenly, Wang Ting realized that the two were simply a perfect match. Wang Ting's eyes lit up. He felt that he had discovered something amazing. At this moment, a gust of wind blew by. Why does it feel a bit chilly? Wang Ting suddenly paused, realizing that the sensation wasn't genuinely cold. With his current physique, such a mild breeze wouldn't make him feel cold at all. However, he sensed a kind of emptiness, so he lowered his head to take a look. At some point, his clothes were torn. Due to the terrifying calamity lightning, he hadn't put on his battle armor. He hadn't expected his clothes to get torn. Glancing at the people around him, Wang Teng's expression suddenly turned awkward. Especially when he noticed that many female warriors were staring at his upper body with scorching eyes, looking as if they wanted to devour him in one bite. Perverts. Wang Teng was speechless. He moved his body and disappeared on the spot. To maintain his purity, he decided to make a quick exit. Being stared at by so many people was a loss he didn't want to endure. Meanwhile, the 9 pillars of light were gradually dissipating, revealing the hidden pills within. Under the lingering influence of the calamity lightning, these pills remained still, but as the lightning faded, they started to grow restless, attempting to escape. Wang Ting wouldn't allow the fruits of his labor to vanish so easily. He swiftly employed his spiritual power to retrieve them. 9 pillars of light, each containing 15 heavenly essence gathering pills, adding up to a total of 135 pills. The jade bottles alone were filled with over a dozen pills each. The sheer quantity of pills that Wang Ting had concocted was indeed formidable. If this were known to outsiders, it might drive them to madness. All the pills were collected by Wang Teng, leaving many onlookers feeling disappointed. Inside the alchemy room, as Wang Teng landed, Tong Yen and the others immediately surrounded him, scrutinizing him as if he were a peculiar creature. Gulp! Suddenly, the sound of someone swallowing saliva echoed. They wanted to say something, but they were suddenly stunned. They looked in the direction of the sound and felt speechless. Wei Ena, can you be more reserved? Bai Yarrow was speechless. Cough, cough. Wang Ting blushed slightly, casting another glance at Wang Ting's upper body before reluctantly shifting her gaze away. Wang Ting, hehe, I didn't expect you to have such a nice body. Your physique is indeed much stronger than other martial warriors. Tong Yen playfully extended her finger and poked Wang Ting's chest. Pervert. Wang Ting swatted away her hand and promptly took out some clothes to put on. Bai Yarrow, Yuan Bai, Qin Quan, and the others looked at their bodies and felt a little frustrated. They weren't bad either. Why couldn't they attract beautiful female martial warriors? Returning to the main topic, how exactly did this guy cultivate his physique to such an extent? Having cultivated his physique to such an extraordinary level, Wang Teng's body was surprisingly pristine, lacking even the slightest trace of wounds. His muscles were perfectly sculpted, without appearing bulky as one might expect from someone with a robust physique. Typically, individuals with formidable physical strength would exhibit a visibly robust and muscular build. Wang Teng, however, was an exception. When he wore clothes, who could discern the amazing physique concealed beneath his attire? If every physique cultivator could achieve this, surely many would choose physique cultivation. After all, the allure of attracting female warriors was enough to overcome any difficulties. After Wang Teng put on his clothes, Wang Teng and Tong Yen also composed themselves, albeit with a hint of regret. Wang Teng, how many pills did you refine this time? Tong Yen curiously asked. 135. Wang Teng didn't hide and replied directly. Gasp. The group gasped in astonishment. Freak. Tong Yen couldn't help but exclaim. No choice. Time is of the essence. Otherwise, why would I make things so difficult for myself? Wang Ting shook his head and sighed. The others were left speechless. So, it turned out that his potential was forced out. If it weren't for the urgent time constraints, others might never have known that this guy could refine 9 sets of pills at once. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. I still need to continue with alchemy. Wang Ting said. You're continuing? Tong Yen and the others didn't know what to say. Wang Ting walked toward the alchemy room. Aren't you going to take a break? Tong Yen shouted from behind. Chapter 21:10, Grandmaster Wang Ting, please hold on. 2. No time to lose. Wang Ting waved his hand. By the way, deliver these pills back to Yu Chichiao. She will know how to arrange them. These pills are called Heavenly Essence Gathering Pill and they're Grandmaster 7th level pills. They can gather various elemental forces, enhance your force stage, and can be used by any elemental warrior. However, it's best to consume it in the area with the corresponding attributes so that the effects can be maximized. As he spoke, over a dozen jade bottles flew out of his hands, hovering in front of Tong Yen and the others. Bang! The door to the alchemy room closed, and Wang Ting's figure had already disappeared from their sight. Tong Yen and the others exchanged glances with one another. This fellow is really hardworking, Tong Yen said. Our president is not bad, Wei Ena smiled and said. Yuan Bai and the others blinked and nodded. At first, they joined the Constellation Society because of Wang Ting's strength and potential. Now, witnessing his actions, they felt a sense of approval. Let's quickly take these pills back. Time is indeed running out, Tong Yen said, looking at the pills in her hand. Send someone over. Didn't Wang Ting say that Yu Chichiao knows what to do? Wei Ena asked. That makes sense. We only need one person for the delivery. I still want to stay here and see what kind of pills Wang Ting will make next. Suddenly, I find it a bit exciting, Tong Yen said, somewhat excited. Who was screaming and saying they didn't want to watch Wang Ting's alchemy just now? Qin Quan teased. Little Quan Quan, you won't have friends like this. Tong Yen rolled her eyes at him with a black face. No, I won't, Qin Quan said. Let's play rock paper scissors. Whoever loses goes to make the delivery, Tong Yen suggested, ignoring him. I'll go. It's just delivering some pills. I'll be back soon, Yuan Bai said. Little Bai, you're so boring. You won't be able to find a female ape in the future, Tong Yen said angrily. Yuan Bai, what do you mean by I can't find a female ape? He felt offended. Ha ha ha, Tong Yen, your mouth is too sharp, Wei Ena laughed, covering her mouth. Bai Yarrow and Qin Quan couldn't help but chuckle. They looked at Yuan Bai with a strange expression, thinking if he would find a female ape in the future. Come on, brother, tell us about the aesthetic preferences of your ape people. We'll help you find a match in the future. Bai Yarrow and Qin Quan approached and teased him. Go away. Veins popped out on Yuan Bai's forehead as he shouted angrily. He couldn't do anything to Tong Yen but had no patience for these two teasing friends. Then, he took the jade bottle containing the Heavenly Essence Gathering pills and left. He didn't give Tong Yen a chance to play rock paper scissors, leaving her sulking for a while. But her temperament was like this, so no one really cared. Soon, Yuan Bai found Yu Chichiao and passed the pills to her. He also conveyed Wang Ting's words. In fact, Wang Ting had already communicated with Yu Chichiao through the communication device. She knew what kind of pill it was and understood the function of the Heavenly Essence Gathering pill. After sending Yuan Bai off, Yu Chichiao took the pills excitedly and gathered the members of the Constellation Society. Everyone gathered, eagerly watching Yu Chichiao. Everyone, this is the pill the president made for us. It's the 7th level Grandmaster level Heavenly Essence Gathering pill. Yu Chichiao took out the pill and smiled. Grandmaster 7th level. The crowd below erupted in excitement. They hadn't expected the president to make a Grandmaster 7th level pill. It was truly a pleasant surprise. Even for these talented warriors, who had high statuses outside the stellar academies, they didn't have the chance to see a Grandmaster 7th level pill in their ordinary lives, let alone use one. Without a certain foundation, they couldn't afford to use such pills. This was also why so many talents wanted to join the stellar academies. Here, they could access more resources. The effects of the heavenly essence gathering pill varies from person to person and can enhance your strength by 1 to 4 small realms. Yu Qiqiao smiled as she looked at the excited crowd. The crowd fell silent for a moment, then erupted into excitement once again. Increase by 1 to 4 small realms. The effect of this pill was unexpectedly powerful. Vice President, are you speaking the truth? Someone couldn't help but ask. Why will I lie to you? Yu Qiqiao smiled. The president made the pill personally. You should believe him. Of course. The people below were overjoyed. This pill could enhance their strength by 1 to 4 small realms. They must believe it. These are the pills the president refined in half a day. There are a total of 135 pills. Yu Qiqiao took out all the pills and placed them on the table. He made it in half a day. Many people were astounded. 135 pills. It sounded a little unreal. You can check the intranet. There are many people at the alchemy volcano, and the president is still refining pills. These are just the first batch, and there are more to come, so you don't have to worry about not having enough, Yu Qiqiao said. Having just finished refining the pills, Wang Ting had them delivered by people like Yuan Bai. As a result, the members of the Constellation Society were still unaware of the situation at the alchemy volcano. Now, hearing Yu Qiqiao's words, they became extremely curious. Many people. How many people were there? To refine 135 pills in half a day, how did the president manage to do that? Chapter 2111, Grandmaster Wang Ting, please hold on. 3. Now, we will draw lots to decide who will receive these 135 pills, Yu Qiqiao continued. No one had any objections. 135 pills was quite a substantial number. At least more than a third of the people would have the chance to take the pills this time. As for the remaining people, based on the president's alchemy efficiency, they would be able to receive it within a day. At that moment, hope reignited in the hearts of the people. It seemed that there was still a chance for them to compete for a spot on the freshman leaderboard. Just as the members of the Constellation Society were fervently enhancing themselves through the power of the pills, the commotion caused by Wang Ting in the alchemy volcano also spread. The commotion was huge. It was hard not to know about it. The reputation of Wang Ting, a Grandmaster alchemist, once again spread like wildfire. To simultaneously refine 9 furnaces of Grandmaster-level pills in one go was an incredibly audacious feat. Most importantly, he succeeded. The 9 pillars of Light Sword, Calamity Lightning Struck, and the Celestial Might descended like a prison. These scenes, captured on video by some individuals, rapidly circulated throughout the 7th Stellar Academy. More and more people got to know about it. The members of the Qingyang Society saw it too. Feng Qingyang and Ruan Banlian's expressions turned somewhat unsightly. Wang Teng's madness exceeded their expectations, and they could not fathom that he would be so reckless. For a normal alchemist, this amount of time would be utterly insufficient. But Wang Ting was anything but ordinary, choosing to refine 9 furnaces of pills simultaneously. Was such a thing even humanly possible? It was downright insane. Could he be trying to enhance the strength of the Constellation Society members forcibly through this method? Ruan Banlian hesitated. Feng Qingyan's face darkened. Wang Ting's madness completely disrupted his plans. Damn it, that bastard is breaking the rules. He's not playing by the book. Who would make 9 furnaces of Grandmaster-level pills at once? Do you think this is an assembly line? Seeing his demeanor, Ruan Banlian knew that the situation had completely deviated from their expectations, and her expression also became grim. Don't worry, simultaneously refining 9 furnaces of pills also consumes a significant amount of spiritual power. Moreover, he personally resisted the Calamity Lightning. Although it seems from the video that he didn't suffer any injuries, I refuse to believe that he's completely unaffected. Have someone keep an eye on him. He can't possibly sustain the continuous refinement of 9 furnaces of pills in one go, Feng Qingyang said. All right, I'll send someone immediately. Ruan Banlian nodded. Just as Feng Qingyang said, she also didn't believe that Wang Ting could maintain the continuous refinement of 9 furnaces of Grandmaster-level pills. Being able to refine them once was impressive enough. No one could do it consecutively. Someone from the Qingyang Society immediately headed to the alchemy volcano to closely monitor Wang Teng's alchemy room. Not only them, but people from many factions also arrived. They included the Feiyun Alliance, the Witch Tower Alliance. These individuals were extremely curious about Wang Teng's alchemy efficiency, eager to see if he could sustain it. If he could, it would be truly terrifying. Many were preparing to reassess Wang Teng's value. A Grandmaster alchemist capable of refining 9 furnaces of pills in one go, and not just once, the value he was creating was beyond imagination. So, many wanted to see if Wang Ting could continue this insane feat. Grandmaster Pu Yongnian, Grandmaster Cecilia, and others all remained. Even Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan and the middle-aged man were present. 2 to 3 days meant little to them. Instead, Wang Ting's alchemical results were what truly concerned them. In this situation, time slowly passed, and half a day went by. Outside Wang Ting's alchemy room, dark clouds gathered once again, and the thunderous roar echoed through the heavens and earth. The onlookers waiting outside were immediately energized, all turning their gazes. The oppressive feeling emanating from within the dark clouds gave many a premonition of something significant. Their expressions changed in unison. Could it be? The instant these thoughts appeared in everyone's mind, an explosion came from Wang Teng's alchemy room. In the next moment, 9 pillars of light shot up into the sky, captivating the onlookers. 9 pillars of light. Once again, 9 pillars of light. The crowd knew that Wang Ting had succeeded once more. He had once again, in a single attempt, refined 9 batches of pills. Shocked. Astonishment. A sense of awe filled the hearts of many. Even though quite a few had already speculated about the outcome, witnessing it in reality still left them profoundly shaken. 2 times. 2 consecutive instances of refining 9 furnaces of pills. All of this was sufficient proof of Wang Ting's abnormality and his worth. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan and the middle-aged man exchanged glances. There was astonishment in their eyes. I didn't expect him to succeed again. It seems he has indeed mastered the technique of simultaneously refining 9 furnaces of pills. At the very least, he can multitask, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan marveled. Multitasking. The middle-aged man shook his head and said, many with strong spiritual power can multitask, but to refine 9 batches of pills, mere multitasking is not enough. One must possess an exceptionally solid foundation in alchemy. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan nodded and agreed with the middle-aged man. Chapter 21:12, Grandmaster Wang Ting, please hold on. For, in the end, Wang Ting once again emerged unscathed from the calamity lightning and disappeared from the sight of the onlookers. Slowly, the crowd recovered from their astonishment, finally accepting the fact that Wang Ting could consecutively refine 9 batches of pills. However, discussions among the people never ceased. They continued to unfold in various corners, gradually spreading and sweeping across the entire 7th Stellar Academy. When Feng Qingyang and Ruan Banlian received the news again, their expressions darkened even more. This wasn't the news they wanted to hear. However, the reality was what it was, and they couldn't change it. I don't believe it. Even if he can simultaneously refine 9 batches of pills, at most, one batch would have 3 or 4 pills. In total, it's just over 30 pills. The Constellation Society still has over 300 members, so he would need to refine it at least 10 times, and there's no time for that. Besides, is he some kind of Iron Man who can keep refining continuously? Feng Qingyang said. President. A Qingyang Society martial warrior who came over to deliver the news couldn't help but interject. Speak. Feng Qingyang looked at the person, frowning. If you have something to say, say it directly. Don't beat around the bush. I have inquired with the grandmasters over there. It seems that Grandmaster Wang Ting seems to be able to refine more than 10 pills in one batch, the Qingyang Society martial warrior said cautiously. What did you say? Feng Qingyan's eyes showed a hint of surprise. He glared at the martial warrior with a fierce gaze. More than 10 pills in one batch? Yes. The Qingyang Society martial warrior couldn't help but swallow his saliva, hesitatingly nodding. He was worried that if he spoke too much, he would be beaten to death by his president who had lost his mind. Are you sure? Feng Qingyang took a deep breath, calming his emotions as he asked. I asked several Grandmaster alchemists, and they all said that one batch can indeed produce more than 10 pills, the Qingyang Society martial warrior replied. You may leave. Feng Qingyang fell silent for a moment before saying, yes. The Qingyang Society martial warrior left as if fleeing. Feng Qingyang stood on the spot. His gaze flickered and his expression kept changing. It was an interesting sight. Ruan Banlian's expression became even more unpleasant. She looked at Feng Qingyang and asked, what should we do now? She was somewhat at a loss. Wang Teng's alchemy efficiency was terrifying, and his individual efforts were enough to turn the tide. The Constellation Society might not necessarily disband, and their subsequent plans would be challenging to execute. She felt so frustrated she wanted to vomit blood. Even though she harbored deep resentment towards Wang Teng, she found herself seemingly helpless against him. The feeling was incredibly frustrating. Wait. Feng Qingyang gritted his teeth, spitting out the word. He must be trying to use the pills to elevate the cultivation of the Constellation Society members. However, this method only enhances their cultivation realm. It doesn't necessarily make them much stronger. Until the results are clear, anything is possible. Fine. Ruan Banlian, even if reluctant, had no other choice at this point. She nodded in agreement. Over the next 3 days, news continued to come from the alchemy volcano. Almost every half day, Wang Ting successfully refined many pills. Each time, all 9 furnaces produced pills simultaneously, creating a truly spectacular scene. The moods of Feng Qingyang and Ruan Banlian worsened with each passing day. Feng Qingyang had originally planned to go into seclusion to break through to the eternal level, but Wang Ting's actions had left him restless, completely disrupting his focus. By right, a Cosmos Stage martial warrior shouldn't be able to affect a Universe Stage martial warrior like him. However, Wang Teng was an exception. His title as a star-ranking genius was enough to overshadow everything. Coupled with his current strength, which could contend with Heaven Stage martial warriors, and his extraordinary talent in alchemy, it was enough to make him, a Universe Stage martial warrior, take notice. It was an incredible situation. Never before had a new student entered the Stellar Academies, and within just 6 months, reached such a level as to threaten the senior students at the Universe Stage. Even those monstrous geniuses couldn't achieve such a feat when they entered the Academy for 6 months. They were still in a period of dormancy, slowly accumulating strength, unlike Wang Ting, who had immediately displayed his prowess, shining brightly. Wang Ting could truly be considered one of a kind. 3 days. In 3 days, Wang Ting successfully refined all the required pills. More than 400 heavenly essence-gathering pills, and over 400 realm-nurturing pills. It even exceeded the number of Constellation Society members, ensuring that each person would receive a pill. At this moment, Wang Ting walked out of the alchemy room, no longer engaging in pill refinement. Tong Yen and the others waited outside for 3 days, witnessing every batch of pills Wang Teng produced. By now, they were utterly numb. This wasn't alchemy. It was more like mass-producing medicinal pills. In their understanding, this was even faster than mass-producing medicinal pills. Let's go, it's time to return, Wang Teng said casually. Tong Yen and the others stared at him silently as if he were a monster. They followed behind him. This guy had been refining pills for 3 days and nights, yet he looked as energetic as ever. Was he even human? Outside, as Wang Ting walked out of the alchemy room, those who had waited for 3 days and nights began to gather around. Wang Ting had already proven his worth. Even though he never intended to prove anything, in the minds of the onlookers, Wang Ting's value was beyond comparison. If the previous Wang Ting was just a Grandmaster Alchemist, now he was equivalent to 9 Grandmaster Alchemists at the pinnacle. Yes, that's right, 9. One person was equal to 9. Chapter 21:13, Grandmaster Wang Ting, please hold on. 5. Wang Ting, through his madness, made these people understand the meaning of 1 person equals 9. Grandmaster Wang Ting, Master Wang Ting, please hold on. Grandmaster Wang Ting, we are from the Crimson Cloud Society. Our president invites you to visit our society, and he will personally receive you. Grandmaster Wang Ting, I am the vice president of the Radiant Light Society. Our president invites you for tea to discuss martial art. Representatives from various factions crowded around, making it difficult for Wang Ting to move. They were extremely enthusiastic as they had waited 3 days and nights to see him and feared he might run away. Everyone. Wang Ting felt a headache and quickly shouted, his voice even incorporating the skill of divine sonic wave, intimidating the spirits of those present and quieting them down. The crowd was shaken, slightly surprised, all turning their gaze toward Wang Ting. At this moment, they remembered that Grandmaster Wang Ting was an exceptionally talented martial warrior, and they couldn't simply regard him as just an alchemist. Moreover, that should be an extremely rare spiritual battle technique. Among those present, there were quite a few strong individuals at the Heaven Lord, and there was even a universe stage presence. Yet, they were all affected to some extent by that spiritual combat technique, indicating the formidable spiritual cultivation of Wang Ting. This young friend has even mastered a spiritual battle technique. It's truly remarkable. The middle-aged man in the distance exclaimed. Spiritual battle technique, and it's a sound wave type. It's a good thing for us alchemists. I am quite interested, Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan smiled and said. Seeing the crowd finally quieting down, Wang Ting also breathed a sigh of relief. He clasped his hands and said, I appreciate everyone's kind intentions. However, as you all know, the freshman leaderboard is about to close, and the next step is for us newcomers to choose mentors, which is of utmost importance. So, could you all allow me to handle everything first and extend your invitations afterward? At that time, I will certainly honor the appointment. The crowd suddenly realized and couldn't help but feel a bit amused. After all this time, they finally realized that Grandmaster Wang Ting was still a freshman. He wanted to participate in the freshman leaderboard and had to choose a mentor. Their blockade here indeed caused some trouble for him. Grandmaster Wang Ting, you're too polite. It's our impatience that has caused this. Please forgive us. A gentle-looking young man smiled, clasped his fists, and said, since Grandmaster Wang Ting is going to challenge the freshman leaderboard and choose a mentor, we won't disturb you any longer. I am Zhong Wenyu from the 10 World Alliance. I wish Grandmaster Wang Ting success in claiming the top spot in the freshman leaderboard and finding an outstanding mentor. After saying this, he stepped aside directly, appearing very polite and gracious, leaving a favorable impression. 10 World Alliance. What an imposing name, but it's still not as good as our Constellation Society. Wang Ting was surprised. He glanced at the other party and said gratefully, thank you, Senior Zong. Others were immediately regretful. They were outplayed by Zhong Wenyu from the 10 World Alliance, and looking at Wang Ting's expression, it was evident he remembered the guy. This was an advantage. So, one after another, people began to congratulate Wang Ting, and he began to feel a bit embarrassed. These people didn't dare to offend Wang Ting and could only postpone their invitations, allowing Wang Ting to leave. Wang Ting walked out of the crowd and heaved a sigh of relief. Wang Ting, are you happy to be so popular? Tong Yen teased him through voice transmission. Get lost, one have a headache. Wang Ting replied without expression. As they were about to leave, suddenly a voice rang in Wang Ting's ears. Young friend, after the Grand Disciple Acceptance Ceremony, do you mind coming to my place for an alchemy exchange? Wang Ting's steps paused slightly, looking towards the distance. He saw Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan nodding towards him as a gesture of invitation. Even the middle-aged man beside him showed a friendly smile and nodded slightly. It's an honor to be invited by you. Wang Ting's heart stirred slightly. He nodded towards Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan and the middle-aged man, responding through voice transmission. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan smiled and disappeared with the middle-aged man. Who's that middle-aged man? Suddenly, the image of the middle-aged man flashed through Wang Ting's mind. He couldn't see through the man, and being able to stand with Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan indicated that he was likely an extraordinary figure. Let's go. Wang Ting didn't think much about it. He took out his spacecraft and flew inside directly. Wang Ting, what was that? Tong Yen asked curiously. Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan, Wang Ting replied. Alchemy Saint. Tong Yen and the others' expressions changed slightly. They seemed to have heard something astonishing. Do you know the Alchemy Saint? Tong Yen asked. We met once. Wang Ting nodded without elaborating. From the way he acted, it seems like he values you a lot. Tong Yen, with a mischievous gleam in her eyes, said, Did he tell you something just now? He invited me for tea and to discuss alchemy. Wang Ting replied. You're bragging. Tong Yen didn't believe him. He's just an alchemy saint. With my attainments, as long as my cultivation reaches the required level, I can naturally advance. There's nothing to brag about. Wang Ting said nonchalantly. Tong Yen and the others were speechless. Just an alchemy saint. This guy had such a big attitude. Wasn't he afraid of choking on his words? Wang Ting, look up at the sky. Tong Yen said. I'm not looking. Wang Ting chuckled. Tong Yen felt a bit frustrated. This guy wasn't falling for it. Still, she said, many cows are flying in the sky. Let them fly for a while. I'll soon advance to become an alchemy saint. By then, they might not have come down yet. Wang Ting said. Tong Yen and the others, QFQ. Chapter 2114, Interrogation. Yin Transmutation Stone Pill. 1. Wang Ting left the alchemy volcano and returned to the manor where Re-Constellation Society was. President. All the members of the Constellation Society gathered, their eyes fixed on Wang Ting. Their emotions were high, and their gazes filled with admiration. The effects were out for the first batch of people who consumed the pills. In just 2 days, their cultivations had indeed increased by 2 to 3 minor realms. No one had only gained 1 minor realm. The pills concocted by Wang Ting had potent medicinal properties, making it easy to advance 2 or 3 minor realms. As for instantly advancing 4 minor realms, no one had achieved that yet. But for everyone present, this was inconsequential. Being able to advance 3 minor realms was already quite remarkable, proving the remarkable power of these pills. They also believed Wang Ting wouldn't deceive them. If they couldn't advance 4 minor realms, it was definitely due to their insufficient aptitude, not the pills. I've already concocted all the pills. Besides the Heavenly Essence Gathering Pill, there's another pill called the Realm Nurturing Pill. I've infused insights from the 2nd to Re-5th level of domains into it so it can help you comprehend the power of Re-domains. Wang Ting surveyed the crowd and calmly spoke. The Realm Nurturing Pill can help us to comprehend the power of domains. Everyone was astounded when they heard the effects of the pill. A pill that could enhance the power of domains. This was beyond the understanding of many. I remember hearing about this kind of pill. It's extremely precious. Someone suddenly seemed to recall and exclaimed. Realm Nurturing Pill. I think I've heard our Idas mention it. This pill is extremely rare and challenging to concoct. It's seldom seen on the marker. Only those warriors with special requirements would seek alchemists to specially concoct this pill for them, another person added. I recall it too. Indeed, there is such an elixir. Each person's domain comprehension is different, so to obtain the corresponding insights, the Realm Nurturing Pill must be customized. It's rarely circulated in the market. The crowd discussed the effects and uniqueness of the Realm Nurturing Pill, making it clear even to those who were previously unaware. Their gazes toward Wang Ting once again transformed. This kind of customized pill, and in bulk. Their president was truly impressive. You don't need to look at me like that. I asked your vice president about it. Most of you are martial warriors with attributes of the 5 basic elements, and your domain comprehensions are concentrated around the 2nd to 4th rank. I can consider it as a collective customization for you. Wang Teng smiled lightly. As for remaining few wind and lightning element martial warriors, I've also specially concocted a corresponding realm nurturing pill for you. It should be enough for your use. Those wind and lightning element martial warriors, who were a bit disappointed at first, immediately brightened up upon hearing Wang Teng's last words. Long live the president. President is awesome. Enough with the flattery. Wang Ting waved his hand, placed the pills on the table, and said, come and line up for distribution. Each person gets 1 heavenly essence gathering pill and 1 realm nurturing pill. If you've already received them, don't come up again. If one find out, it'll break your hand. We wouldn't dare. We wouldn't dare. Everyone responded with laughter. After distributing the pills, Wang Teng dismissed the crowd, instructing them to go back and cultivate, urging them to improve as quickly as possible. Time was running out, with only 2 days left. 1 day for digestion and 1 day to compete for rankings. Even if their realms became unstable due to the urgency, there was no other choice but to face it head-on. Thanks for your hard work. Once everyone had left, Wang Teng turned to Yu Qiqiao and spoke. You still know that I've been working hard, Yu Qiqiao said, rolling her eyes. Here you go. 2 jade bottles appeared in Wang Teng's hand, and he tossed them to her. 3 heavenly essence gathering pills and 1 realm nurturing peely. Yu Qiqiao caught the jade bottle and glanced at it in surprise. For now, 3 heavenly essence gathering pills are your limit. Don't take more. Have 1 realm nurturing pill for now. If you need more in the future, 111 make them for you. If you eat too many of them, it won't work even if you merge them into your higher level domains in the future, Wang Teng explained. Yu Qiqiao nodded and said, I guess you still have a bit of a conscience. Oh. So Wang Ting gave a wry smile, feeling as if he had been accused of being an unfaithful lover. That's not right. My domain is quite special, and I've already reached the 4th rank. Ordinary domain insights won't be of much use to me, Yu Qiqiao suddenly remarked. You'll find out when you use it, Wang Teng said mysteriously. Yu Qiqiao looked at Wang Teng with suspicion, saying, so should I try it? If it doesn't work, it'll be a waste. After all, it's a Grandmaster level pill. If I tell you to use it, then use it. It's just a Grandmaster level pill. It's nothing to me, Wang Teng said plainly. Yu Qiqiao choked. At first, she was touched, but now, she wasn't. She felt he was giving her something he didn't want. This insensitive man. The same treatment was given to Yu Yunxian and Bora. Wang Teng distributed pills to both, enabling them to enhance their strength further. Currently, their positions on the freshman leaderboard were still relatively low, and no one knew how far they could go. In the previous battle against Ri Qingyang Society, Yu Yunxian's swordplay had been stunning, and many speculated that he could enter the top 10 of the freshman leaderboard. However, the specific rank was unpredictable. Now, with Wang Teng's pills, their strength was sure to improve significantly. Perhaps, by the time the freshman leaderboard closed, they would surprise many. Chapter 21:15 Interrogation. Yin Transmutation Stone Pill. 2. After dealing with the matters of the Constellation Society, Wang Teng returned to his estate and sat cross-legged in the cultivation chamber, letting out a sigh of relief. What a tough journey. Being a president was truly not easy. Initially, he had envisioned the Constellation Society as a small organization to earn points, but others didn't allow him to develop peacefully. For some reason, step by step, he was pushed into this situation, and the reputation of the Constellation Society continued to grow. It felt like he was being forced into a corner. However, since it had come to this point, Wang Teng wouldn't back down. Those forces wanted to see the Constellation Society disappear, didn't they? He wouldn't fulfill their wishes. The Constellation Society would continue to develop and become a major force within the stellar academies. In the future, all other forces would have to yield to the Constellation Society. That was what Wang Ting declared. No one could change that. Wang Ting smirked, a hint of disdain in his eyes. This was a kind of absolute self-confidence that no one and nothing could shake. Without dwelling on it further, he looked at his attributes board. This alchemical process wasn't without gains, especially after enduring the calamity lightning, which further enhanced his physique. Ancient God's Body, unknown 263500300000, 3-star, True Dragon Battle Physique, pseudo 375004, 0000, 4th rank, he had more than 260,000 points of Ancient God's Body. Soon, he would reach the peak of 3-star. Of course, the main reason was because he absorbed a lot of blood essence power from the Naga race's blood pool. Wang Ting cultivated Ancient God's Body while absorbing the blood essence power, so his cultivation rose tremendously. It was the same for the True Dragon Battle Physique, pseudo. It was almost at the peak of the 4th rank and would break through soon. However, it wasn't easy to achieve a breakthrough. After all, he wouldn't be able to find a Naga race's blood pool every time. That was a treasure ground that could improve his physique. Besides that, Wang Ting's calamity lightning power had increased too. He was elated. He had to feed his lightning spirit recently, so he didn't have enough lightning calamity power. Heaven Earth Calamity Lightning, 12,000 20,000, 2nd rank, Wang Ting nodded in satisfaction. The Heaven Earth Calamity Lightning was getting stronger and stronger. It was entrenched in the small universe in his body, giving off a faint heavenly aura. If he used the Heaven Earth Calamity Lightning now, he could release a trace of the Calamity Lightning's power. This was the 2nd rank Heaven Earth Calamity Lightning. If he fought with Lightning Element Martial Warriors, normal Lightning Element Martial Warriors wouldn't be his match. Wang Ting's gaze flickered as he carefully examined an item he had taken out. It was something entrusted to him by Kang Yu when they parted ways on the Scorpion King Star. It was also the reason why Landon entered the Poison Erosion world. Azure Sea Pearl. At this moment, a single pearl lay in the palm of Wang Ting's hand, adorned with serpentine patterns that seemed not just on the surface but intricately woven into the gem, creating an unusual and captivating effect. According to Kang Yu, this pearl is the eye of a primordial oceanic serpent. It has the ability to deter snake-type star beasts, although its effectiveness is limited compared to the primordial oceanic serpent bloodline. Having the Azure Sea Pearl has always been a symbol of authority for the snake men. Wang Ting rubbed his chin, deep in thought. It's a bit strange. If its purpose is only to deter snake-type star beasts, what use could Landon have for this Azure Sea Pearl? The Azure Sea Pearl isn't the only thing that can deter snake-type star beasts. There's no need to go to the Poison Erosion world, right? Round Ball's figure materialized at the side. It sized up the Azure Sea Pearl and said, I've checked the information on the Azure Sea Pearl, but most of it pertains to its ability to deter snake-type star beasts, with no other details. Looks like I have to ask Landon. Wang Ting blinked. The next instant, Wang Ting took Landon out from the Devour space. All the force in Landon's body had been devoured by the Devour space. Also, he was heavily injured by Wang Ting, so he was unconscious now. Wang Ting retrieved a healing pill, pried open Landon's mouth, and forced it down his throat. After a short while, Landon slowly regained consciousness, looking around in confusion. It seemed he couldn't recall exactly what had happened. You're awake. At this moment, a familiar voice rang out from the side, causing him to shudder. Wang Ting. Landon abruptly turned his head, locking his gaze onto Wang Ting, his eyes filled with intense hatred. Don't look at me like that. I might not be able to resist hitting you, Wang Ting said casually. Landon's expression stiffened, but the resentment in his eyes did not dissipate. He stared at Wang Ting and, in a hoarse voice, asked, Where is this? 7th Stellar Academy. Wang Ting said, Shall I bring you out to take a look at the 7th Stellar Academy? Landon looked completely miserable and didn't respond. Instead, he questioned, What do you want? Do you know what this is? Wang Ting handed the Azure Sea Pearl to him, smiling as he asked. Azure Sea Pearl. Landon's pupils contracted, and a hint of unwillingness flashed in his eyes. This pearl was originally something he was determined to obtain. He had invested so much effort in going to the Scorpion King star in the poison erosion world, and he was on the verge of success when Wang Teng intercepted him. The feeling was simply driving him insane. Don't get too worked up, Wang Ting consoled him and asked, can you tell me its function? I already told you. This azure sea pearl can deter snake-type star beasts. It's just that you didn't believe it, Landon replied. So it still won't work, huh? Wang Ting shook his head regretfully, then suddenly said, come, look into my eyes and answer me again. Chapter 21:16, Interrogation, Yin Transmutation Stone Pill. 3. Landon became alert instantly, avoiding eye contact. Yet, Wang Ting was not one to let him have his way. He forcefully turned Landon's head, locking eyes with him. A crimson light flashed in Wang Ting's eyes. Bewitch. Landon was horrified. However, he was powerless to stop the intrusion of Wang Ting's spiritual force. Gradually, a bewildered look appeared in his eyes. Though a genius with formidable spiritual power and an iron will, Landon was no match for the recent enhancement in Wang Teng's spiritual power. The use of the bewitch technique posed little difficulty for Wang Ting. Come on, tell me, what is the purpose of the azure sea pearl? Wang Ting asked with a sly smile. I learned from an ancient text that the azure sea pearl is a crucial ingredient in refining the yin transmutation stone pill. One need this pill to subdue the grey-white flame, Landon said expressionlessly. The yin transmutation stone pill. A gleam of astonishment flashed in Wang Teng's eyes. Will consuming this pill increase the chances of subduing the grey-white flame? Yes, this pill can resist the petrifying power in the grey-white region. Without the yin transmutation stone pill, I cannot enter that desolate place, Landon explained. So, that's how it is. Wang Teng suddenly realized. Even a peak Grandmaster alchemist like him didn't know there was another pill called the yin transmutation stone pill. This proved how rare and esoteric the yin transmutation stone pill was. Round Ball, have you heard of the yin transmutation stone pill? Wang Teng asked. I haven't heard of it. I just checked, and there are no records in that regard. However, given your status, you could check the Secondary Career Alliance internal web, Roundball replied. Wang Teng nodded. He immediately entered the Secondary Class Alliance in the virtual universe to search for the yin transmutation stone pill prescription. Unfortunately, he found nothing. He came out feeling quite disappointed. How is it? Roundball asked immediately. Wang Ting shook his head and turned to face Landon, asking, do you have the prescription for the yin transformation stone pill? Yes, Lan Deng replied. Wang Ting suddenly felt a bit foolish. Since Landon went to find the azure sea pearl, he must possess the prescription for the yin transmutation stone pill. He had unnecessarily gone to the Secondary Career Alliance to search. It seemed quite absurd. Round Ball was also speechless. They assumed Landon didn't know about the yin transmutation stone pill just because they were unaware. They failed to consider that the other party had thoroughly researched the matter. It was truly a case of seeing only what one wants to see. Hand over the recipe to me, Wang Ting immediately demanded. The recipe is stored in my mind, Landon said. Then write it down. Wang Ting handed Landon paper and pen, asking him to write down the information. Under the influence of the bewitch skill, Landon, without any hesitation, quickly wrote down the recipe for the yin transmutation stone pill. Wang Teng picked up the written recipe and examined it closely, his brow furrowing slightly. The formula was incredibly intricate and arcane, involving unique and unconventional methods of refinement, making it the most peculiar one he had ever encountered. Furthermore, some of the listed ingredients were highly esoteric. The azure sea pearl was just one of them. There were many rare herbs and even gemstones on the list. Alchemy sometimes required the use of special gemstones. In the universe, various peculiar gemstones possessed extraordinary powers and could serve as medicinal components. This is a supreme rank pill. After a moment, he took a deep breath and made his judgment. A supreme rank pill. Round Ball was shocked too. Luckily, your proficiency in alchemy is high enough. Otherwise, finding another alchemist to refine it would be troublesome. Speaking of Wang Ting's proficiency in alchemy, even Round Ball found it unbelievable. It had witnessed Wang Ting's growth from the beginning when he had just stepped into the Grandmaster level. In a short time, he had already reached the pinnacle of Grandmaster level. Also, he far surpassed an ordinary Grandmaster level alchemist. Such accomplishments were truly astounding. It couldn't help but wonder how he cultivated. It had yet to see him spend much time on alchemy. Although that's true, Wang Ting nodded and added, it might not be so easy to refine this pill. What do you mean? Round Ball was surprised when it saw his expression. It was rare to see Wang Ting in a dilemma because of a pill prescription. The ingredients listed here are too rare. Materials like the radiant stoneflower and the meaty merc bone are unfamiliar to me, Wang Ting said. Radiant stoneflower, meaty merc bone, Round Ball looked them up and sighed, they are indeed hard to find. Even here at the Stellar Academies, it's doubtful we can acquire them. I suddenly realize how fortunate I was to obtain 4 types of divine flames in the past, Wang Ting said with a bitter smile. Do you think there's something special about the Earth? Round Ball suddenly asked. Special? Wang Ting was stunned. You mean? Think about it. Isn't the Earth unusually unique? Many things that are extremely rare in the universe exist on the Earth. This isn't a characteristic of a normal life planet, Round Ball explained. So you're saying, there might be something extraordinary about the Earth? Wang Ting pondered, but I don't think there's anything special about it. At most, there are occasional dimensional rifts. Who knows? One just mentioned it casually. Round Ball didn't press further and said, by the way, you previously managed to subdue 4 divine flames on your own. Do you need external help to subdue the grey-white flame now? You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.